be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
It's time to kick back and listen to the sports page with your host, Pat Lucia, right here on Western Reserve Radio. You can call the show at 330-707-4202 and tell everyone what's on your mind in the wonderful world of sports. Now, here's your host, Pat Lucia.
Saturday morning sports page, Pat Lucia. 330-707-4202. Get in and talk sports. We do it every Saturday morning here. And here is Western Reserve Radio. And it is the Saturday morning sports page from 9 to 11. Oh, is there a lot to get around to in the wonderful world of sports? The coaching carousel continues to kind of turn, and there has been a couple vacancies. Well, one vacancy. I take this back. There are 2 vacancies that have been filled. We talked about the one last week. Gerard Mayo now is the Patriots head coach. Kind of old news. That's from a week or so ago. But the recent hire was Antonio Pierce for the LA or the Las Vegas Raiders, even though I still want to call them the Oakland Raiders. Antonio Pierce will get the head coaching job for the Raiders. So that's a good thing for Raider fans. And it's an excellent thing. It's an excellent thing for Raider players, since that's who they wanted to coach their team. So good news out there. The Raiders have their head coach at hand. Antonio Pierce is in the process of working out and finalizing the deals on the head coach job. So there are now 2 of the positions filled. The ones that are still out there to be filled are the Panthers, the Chargers, the Commanders, the Falcons, the Titans, and the Seahawks. Word is, or the big rumor out there is, the Falcons will probably hire Bill Belichick. He went down there for a second interview. So there is belief that Belichick will get the Falcon job. We are waiting, though, and it'll probably take another week or so to get that worked out. The other position out there, or at least people believe may be filled sooner than later, would be Jim Harbaugh going to the LA. We still call them the San Diego Chargers. So it looks like that will probably happen. Speculation is that will happen sometime this week, and Belichick going to the Falcons. However, after those 2 are filled, we still have the Titans, the Seahawks, and the Commanders, and the Panthers. Jobs are still out there. For those folks out there that are Dallas Cowboy fans that were very upset with the way Dallas probably didn't really show up against the Green Bay Packers and just got absolutely boat raced by the Packers. Let's call it for what it is. I believe the final score was 48-32. The Packers were really dominating the Cowboys from the go. Cowboys defense could not put a stop in it all. They made Jordan Love kind of almost look like the second coming of Johnny Unitas. Good for Jordan Love, and the Packers will move on. We'll get to those games. Obviously, we've got the big 4 games. It's the division round of the NFL. Then next week will be the AFC and NFC finals. We had a week off in the mix, and then we have the Super Bowl finally will be upon us. So we're really down to 7 games left in the NFL. 4 today, 2 next week, and then 1 the Super Bowl, the final week on the weekend of February 11th. But at least the coaching picture kind of comes into play a little bit. Now, Cowboy fans, you're stuck with Mike McCarthy since Jerry Jones came out and said they're sticking with the coach, even though after that poor performance last weekend by the Dallas Cowboys being bounced out by the Packers. All the Cowboy fans and some of the analysts thought that McCarthy would be fired and that, Jones was going to bring in Belichick.
Yeah.
But that wasn't going to happen, Dave Clark. But now the other guy hanging in the wind, we should find out his fate, was the other NFC East team. I don't know who played worse. Was it the Eagles Monday night against Tampa Bay? They didn't. Honest, I've never seen a team. Watched a lot of football. I can't remember the last time a team just did not want to play a playoff game.
Yeah.
I mean, what else could you, Dave Clark, that game Monday night against Tampa Bay, if you were an Eagle fan, and there are a lot of Eagle fans, and they are a passionate group, very passionate. You can't question whether or not the Eagle fans love their Eagles or hate their Eagles. It's a definite love-hate. But I've never seen a team like that I can remember not even want to play. Those defensive players didn't know how to tackle, didn't want to tackle. Yeah. Tampa Bay's not that good. Come on. Yeah. They were 9-8. They're okay.
Yeah, I ain't going to say they're not good, because the reason I say that, because you got to look at, I don't look at the entire season. I look at them last 4 weeks.
Right.
Last 4 weeks, they were been one.
They were better. That's correct. I will give you that.
They have been playing great. So, but that's not the reason that scores like that. I picked them to win.
You did. You got it.
I didn't think Philly's been already on a downslide, and I just figured Tampa Bay would beat them. They always had bad, even when they were good. Both teams great. They still would beat them to play. It was only 3-2. It seemed like it was worse than that. Their playoff, it was 3 Tampa Bay to Phillies 2, but it seemed like Tampa always dominated them, but maybe not. Well, evidently they didn't, but I just didn't figure they could beat them. But intensity level, that's what I look at. There's a lot of stuff, a lot of times I know people might be on these airways and say, what is he talking about? I know for a fact, Jim's in the other room. He might can contest to this too. When you coach or play the game, you look at it differently than just a fan. Like you watch the games. A lot of times I watch games by myself because fan might have a different aspect. They are going to, because it's little intricate things they may not know, and I understand that. Just like if I was at somebody's business, I had to learn from them. But I looked at that. I seen some guys with intensity to play. I seen a Jason Kelsey ready to play.
Right.
I seen a Devontae Smith ready to play. Goddard, who usually is, he's over there fussing, but he looked lackluster out there. Some balls in them right in the hands and the chest. He wouldn't catch it. Hurts didn't look like he was ready. Now, you really can't tell by his facial, because he's always like that. He's the same all the time. But he didn't look that just energized. He didn't have that. And I didn't see that through the team, and mainly of the entire defense. This looked like they were just going through the motions. Let's just get this night over with. Most of them. And you can't play in the play. You can't play in a regular season NFL game and think you're going to get by with that. But that right there, Tampa Bay was intense and ready to go, and they put it on them. Now I say Dallas was the only reason I say Dallas was worse. I figured Philly with what's going on the downslide.
You called it.
But Dallas, how could you figure them out in the season when they play a certain way? When they play home, that's
they're
like
16-0.
Yeah, that's like a championship caliber team.
Right.
I just figured I said maybe Green Bay would play a game, but
make it a
I
game.
just figured Dallas would, and they got smashed. I mean, they took them out to the woodshed.
They did.
I mean, really took them out there bad, and so fans is going crazy because they want McCarthy out of there. I don't really, that's the same thing they did before. If you way back. I forgot who they got rid of, and they bring Bill Parcells in. They want an instant.
It was a Dave Campo, maybe.
Somebody,
it was
somebody, but they brought somebody in, and just right away, and a lot of times that doesn't work like that. And McCarthy has been good all regular season, but can we all blame that on McCarthy, or can we blame it on some of the players? How about CeeDee Lamb not running his whole route out? Stop it in the middle. He never did that during the season ever. Stop. Guys, pick it off. You're not running your route out. You can stop that interception by just running your route completely out. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff.
Okay, the Eagles. They knew Todd Bowles was blitz. That's what they do.
Yeah.
Todd Bowles is...
That's what he always does.
Todd Bowles is realistically a very, very good defensive coach. I think he's a pretty good head coach. Now, he's had a lot of detractors and people wanting to get him fired, and he always seems to be living on the edge, and that people always want to I want to fire Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles I thought he was an excellent defensive coordinator. I think he's still a pretty good head coach. I mean, defense is his bag. He was going to blitz Hurts. There's we talk about sign stealing. They knew what he was doing. They didn't care. They didn't do anything.
No.
They coached. Somebody actually, I heard one analyst say that was coaching malpractice by the Eagles. Why didn't you do some adjustment to pick up a blitz, which you knew was coming your way? It wasn't like, okay, it's like Mariano Rivera coming in. You know the pitch he's throwing you. Hit it. Same thing with Todd Bowles. What he loves to do, he always has a really good defense, and this defense is healthy. Tampa Bay could be a dangerous team. We'll get to them this week. But you knew what he was going to do. You didn't do anything.
Yeah.
Like I think somebody wanted to scream and yell at Sirianni. Why are you letting him blitz? I mean, I know Hurts didn't look good, but he's getting blitzed every play, and they're not doing anything about it.
They wasn't picking up the blitz with
not at all.
But one of the best things to neutralize a blitz. Now, he blitzed 57% of the time. That's what it says in the analyst thing, that he blitzed 57% of the time of a game. So we know he's going to blitz.
Yeah.
Now, early in the game, I can see them not picking it, now we're seeing where they're coming from.
I got it.
Now, the adjustments would be screens or run the ball. I don't care how much. I don't care if you get 1 or 2 yards. Keep running the football so he'll know that, hey, I got to slow this down, keep somebody in the box so they don't break one. Because they do got the backs that could break long ones. So just keep pounding it at them. But they didn't do that. Why wouldn't you do that when you got one of the better offensive lines to run the football? Just keep running. I don't care if they stop you at first. Keep running. Nope. They want to keep trying to pass. 5-step drop. Nobody picks up the blitz. Unbelievable. He just went crazy with it. And that let me know that they were sluggish in what they were doing. Not only the players, the coaching. Because you're not I mean, I can understand it happening at first, but you got to make some kind of adjustment to it. They never did. They just went through the motions of playing the game.
And then their tackling was horrendous.
Yeah.
The defensive backs. Yeah. I was watching the Manning cast. Ray Lewis was on. There was the play where
he probably went nuts.
Oh, he went. Ray Lewis was going out of his mind. He was like, when they had the one play where Tampa caught the one short pass, and there had to be 4 or 5 missed tackles. They ran in for the touchdown. It was a Godwin, maybe.
Somebody, I forgot who it was.
I forgot. I'll look it up. The point is,
the other guy, that number 10.
Yeah, I'll look it up. He caught a short pass. There were like 3 or 4 bad missed tackles. And Ray Lewis is like literally his look on his face. He was like almost like going crazy because he's saying, it's the angle you take to tackle the guy. They're taking horrific, poor angles to make the tackles. That's why they're missing the tackles. Yeah. It's simple.
I mean, the guy running to the sideline.
Right.
Why do you got your head on the back end of the runner? When you make a tackle and somebody's running to the sidelines, get it on the front end. So you got the sidelines and yourself to bring him down. But if you bring him on the back end of him, he can swing that off. He can slap that away. He can spin move and just keep on running down the sideline. That's what they's doing. That's why I say I watch football, but I watch it a lot of times by myself because I look at a game different than just a regular fan.
Right. Because you played it.
I mean,
You played at a high level.
Yeah, I just look at it and said,
you coach it.
This stuff is insane what they doing. And what you call it? Now, I used to I say, Debo, you shouldn't be saying that about what's the cornerback's name for the Eagles? See, he made me so mad I forgot his name now because I used to take up for him. But Debo Samuels kept calling him trash. Number 24. He was terrible. Couldn't tackle. Couldn't react to balls. He's right there. He's in coverage. Can't even react. It's time to go. It's time you go with young guys, and it's time to go. This guy's terrible out there. I mean, and I don't like to say that about the players. I don't usually like to say it, but let me say that he was playing terrible. I can't say he's terrible overall, but that right there, that game, that was horrific. They should be ashamed.
Trey Palmer was the one.
Yeah, that's what number 10.
He caught the fit. That was the one in the third quarter. That sealed their fate. It was 18-9. They just got the safety.
Mm-hmm.
So the Eagles kick off.
Yeah.
It's 18-9. They're still not out of it.
Right.
They kick off. And basically with 59 seconds, they scored with 1:23 left, the safety. They kicked off and basically 2 plays, 62 yards, 59-second drive. Trey Palmer caught a 56-yard pass from Baker. That's the one nobody wanted. Obviously, nobody wanted to tackle Trey Palmer.
Well, they didn't want to tackle.
No, they did not want to tackle him. That was the seal of the fate.
But tackling 101, break down. That's the first thing. Break down when you make a tackle. Not running at them at full speed. Now, I used to have a tendency to that, but I did it when it was in a crowd of people.
Right.
I'll run in like a torpedo
to
hit a guy but on one-on-one, I'm not doing it. I got to break down, have my balance, and then I'd be ready to go whichever way he goes. And then try to get my head in front on the tackle so I can secure it. And if I can't, I can hang on for dear life until somebody comes.
Until someone help.
But those guys was going up there bumping them with a shoulder. This is the NFL, man. You can't bump nobody with no shoulder. I mean, come on. You can't do it unless you bump people with shoulders unless you're Jack Lambert, Jack Ham, Jack Tatum.
Yeah, one of the old,
Give me one of them guys. They might come up in there and give you a form there and knock the mess out of you. But this guy, they coming up there and was bumping him with forms and almost ripped the TV out the I can't stand. It don't have to be my team. I can't stand when I see people, they be playing like that. Because I looked at Dallas. I looked at that game too. And I was like, okay, upset would be nice, but come on, Dallas. What's going on out here?
It was 27-0, and then Dallas put 10 points on the board right before they got the field goal right before the half to make it 27-10, giving at least Cowboy fans, and they were getting the ball back. They were getting the kickoff start of the second half. So there was a glimmer of hope for Cowboy fans out there that, okay, we get the ball, maybe we score a touchdown, make it 27-17. Now it's down to 10. Yeah. Now it's a game.
Yep. I'm going to tell you another guy. If I hear it ever again, I'm going to go crazy. Do not compare anybody to 3 guys. He was compared to 3 guys. Don't ever do it again. Don't ever compare anyone to Lawrence Taylor.
Oh.
What's my guy out of Kansas City? Derek Thomas.
Yeah, Derek Thomas.
And they even brought up Wilbur Marshall.
Oh, Micah Parsons.
Micah Parsons is not better than none of them. Not one of those guys. He cannot carry their jockstrap.
No.
Wilbur Marshall knock your head off. He could cover. He can rush the passer. He was a great tackler. We know what LT did, and we definitely know what DT did. Derek Thomas. He could cover, and he will get to the quarterback. Micah Parsons, when guys get physical enough with him and start banging him up, he disappears. He did. I mean,
he does.
He's not even a factor. Next thing I know, he's on the sidelines, not even in the game. Oh, I'm hurt and I'm sick, whatever. Nah.
When they got drilled by San Francisco earlier in the year, he was non-existent.
Yep, and they took him out. Something was wrong with his shoulder or something. And it happened in this game too.
And
you remember he was on the sideline
Yeah.
He hurt his hand and
Whatever.
wrist. It always something. Please, I'm gonna go crazy if I hear any of that comparing him. I mean, they even threw Ray Lewis in there one time at a game. He was dominant. He was everywhere. He was everywhere in that game. But don't mention his name with those guys ever. Don't do that because that's not fair to him, and it's not a comparison to those guys.
Yeah, I don't know. When you look at those two teams out of the NFC, I think they've got their name back NFC least in the playoffs.
Yeah,
because
nobody should have been in the playoffs from there. The way
nobody in that division belonged in the playoffs. Phil, I don't know who was worse. I don't know. I think the way I kind of spin it is, I thought Dallas offense was Prescott didn't play good. He threw that pick six beginning in the first half. But I really lay a lot of that on the defense for Dallas because they basically could not stop Green Bay. And when in that second half, the game was over real quick. You knew it was kind of over anyway. But when Green Bay got the ball back and marched down the field and made it 34 to 10, they scored that when they made it. And when they moved that ball so quick against that Dallas defense, I said, now it's over. Yeah. You kind of knew it was over when it was 14-0. You had, if you were a Cowboy fan, you knew this was a bad game. There was a glimmer of hope, though, at halftime when they kicked the field goal 27-10. Okay, maybe things can go. When Dallas couldn't do anything with the offense, second half punted the ball back to Green Bay, and then Green Bay just went right down the field, and they scored and made it 34-10. You knew right then and there this was over.
Yeah. I blame it on all of it because the offense was horrible. I'm not even talking about Dak Prescott. They couldn't run the football, which you need to do in the playoffs.
Right.
You have to. They couldn't run. And then, even though it was early in the game when he threw that, not a pick six, but Jameer Alexander jumped that route because, like I said, CeeDee Lamb did not run it out. And they was having they was talking even before that interception happened. Remember? Dak kept getting on CeeDee Lamb about something. I don't know what was going on, but they was having words. And then the next one, he didn't run the route out. Alexander jumped it, got the ball, and then they was able to score again. That made it 14-0.
Yeah,
you can't
that
do
first
that.
one, right.
But,
that first interception, right.
And that right there. Hey, the offense is jacked up. That's not going to help the defense. They're already not playing good. They was not consistent on offense. So now you put the defense. The defense was vulnerable. They're not. The secondary is fine. It's so. It's not. It's an illusion that you think it's better than it is. Like Bland with all the interceptions. I mean, he's there, but he's not a cover guy. But he's a decent defensive back. He can be exploited. So now you got a team that's blitzing. And who are they blitzing? The second best quarterback in the NFL. Remember I told you for it last week? They said that against the blitz. So they blitzing, what do you do? Just down the field, touchdown, whatever, big plays. Quit blitzing him straight up the middle and do some other things from the outside, just mix some things up. Nope, they kept coming the same way. He see it.
Oh, he was picking.
And he was just picking them apart.
Jordan Love's stock just quadrupled.
Now, I watched something, like I told you, I watched the show where it allows you to look at the on it and analyze yourself. You don't even have to, you can see it for yourself. I never paid attention to I got to watch this more often. When Jordan Love drops back, look how deep he is. Most quarterbacks can't do that. No. His arm is so strong, he doesn't drop 7.
No.
He moves back 10 and 12 yards. So a blitz, he nullifies the blitz because by the time they get there, he has enough to do his progressions, and then he throws the ball. He finds somebody. They can't cover nobody all that time. Yep. And I said, wow, that's why. Instead of your normal 7-step drop. And they're in there on him, and he's sacked. And that's what most of the times he's dropping way back. He gets sacked sometimes. But he gets sacked because he held on the ball and couldn't find anybody. And that's I did never notice that until I watched it this past week. So, wow, I never knew that. I never paid attention to that. That's what it was. Not that I just didn't pay attention that he's dropping that far back. And most quarterbacks never do that. But he's athletic enough to do that, and that's the way he does it. So that actually eliminates the blitz sometimes. That's why he's so good against it, because he can see it. He's so far back. He can actually see it.
He gets rid of the ball quick enough.
Yeah, he got enough time to really analyze everything.
And he was throwing, I'll tell you what, he was dropping some dimes, man.
Oh, yeah, them things right on.
He was right on target on those passes.
Unbelievable.
And that one touchdown he threw over the middle, I thought he was going to get sacked, and he just got rid of the ball just in time.
I mean, I don't know. For my lifetime, the Green Bay Packers is and I know it's different coaches, but over the years, they got to be the greatest quarterback coaching team I've ever seen in my life.
You had Favre, Rodgers, and now Jordan Love.
Yeah, and I mean, even like before Favre, you go way back. I mean,
well, you had Bart Starr.
Yeah, but remember that it was a guy. What was his name? Brett Favre had to take over for him because he got injured. He was good too. I can't think of his name. And I used to know his name all the time. He used to come off too. I can't think of it. He was the starting quarterback. He got injured, and Brett Favre had to take over, and that was the beginning of the Brett Favre era. And this guy, he used to have a nickname too. This quarterback, you look it up for us, Mike, can find that. But you think about all the quarterbacks that was on when Brett Favre was there. They had Aaron Brooks, who went to the Saints and started. They had Mark Brunell, Jacksonville. They had Hall of Famer, our guy from the Rams, Kurt Warner was on the Packers quarterback staff. The quarterbacks in Green Bay, that's insane. And even Matt Flynn, he got beat out of Seattle, but when he played at Green Bay, it was all right putting him in the game because he could win games at Green Bay. It's something about their system and their quarterback teachings. It's unbelievable. That's just unbelievable. I can't see if you say his name, I'll know.
Oh man. Unfortunately, this isn't in order. I'm trying to. They have it in alphabetical order, but that isn't helping me. They had Blair Keel in there.
No, not them guys.
He was from 90 and 91.
This guy would he be 80s? He has to be 80. Well, he had to be 90s too, though. That I'm thinking of. He had to be 90s. I'm thinking. Oh, why can't I think of his name? And you would know it. Magic? No, is it Magic? Oh man, what is his name?
This is a little bit better. Oh boy, this is interesting. This is always, I love these lists. Let's see.
It is Magic. It's Magic. Last name starts with an M. Then
there was Don Majal.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mikowski.
Yep. I think he was a starter before
1987, 1988, 1989, 1990.
And then was Favre after that?
Yeah. Because he was hurt. Just to give folks
miss an episode of By All Means, and you could miss a lot.
That's where it all begins with the rich sports history that we have in the Valley. We're going to talk national, we're going to talk regional, but it all begins here at home. So that is where a lot of those.
Okay, here we go.
All right. Saturday morning sports page. We'll be back. That's the first quarter of the show after a quick timeout.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take 1.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
Want to know what I like best about high school sports? I love watching my son run on the field. I love the fact that since he's been playing high school sports, he's making better decisions. And I love knowing that with the proper equipment, education, conditioning, and coaching, high school sports here in Ohio are safer than ever before. And that's something I really love.
This message presented by the Ohio High School Athletic Association and the Ohio Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Saturday morning sports page coming right back at you, 330-707-4202. We're talking about Green Bay quarterbacks. When you break it down, since 1992, when Favre started, took over for Don Mikowski, who had actually started in 1990, 1989, 1988, and 87. But he split, like he was obviously injured a lot.
Mm-hmm. Very good quarterback.
Good quarterback, but he couldn't stay on the field. Mm-hmm. Like he played 5 games. He started 5 games in 87, Don Mikowski. 9 games in 1988. He played the entire season in 89, but then he played 8 games in 1991, 3 games in 92, turned it over to Favre, and then Favre
went from there.
Took it from there. And then he pretty much Favre played a lot of, he's like the Iron Man. And then Rodgers took over, same thing, with Aaron Rodgers taking over. So
and he was the Iron Man, all that.
And Rodgers was too. So
Isn't that crazy?
Dave, it's so weird when you look at the quarterback on Green Bay because of how, you go back to, Bart Starr, and I just, it just amazes me that, Starr was a 17th round draft pick out of Alabama in 1956. He was the 200th player picked.
Yeah.
And 5 championships, which include 2 Super Bowls.
Yep.
But they've had, but realistically, when you look at Green Bay's quarterbacks, it looks like now they found the heir apparent to Rodgers.
Yeah.
And Jordan Love.
He keeps progressing that way.
And he keeps progressing and playing as good as he does. Green Bay's going to have to pay him because right now he's got a cheap contract.
Right.
And, if he continues to play,
you have to pay him.
You have to pay him, pony up and pay him money.
Yeah, because if they don't, somebody will.
Oh, yeah.
So, that's just unbelievable stuff, man. That how they keep this consistency.
Green Bay is able to keep so far.
Yep, keep it going.
You take 1992. Now you're looking at 31 years or so, and you're on your 3rd quarterback in 31 years. It's just starting. So,
yeah, you can't beat that. They're the quarterback equivalent to the Pittsburgh Steelers coaching.
Yeah,
that's what they are. They just.
And speaking of that, I know Tomlin cut off the press conference the other day. They lost to the Buffalo Bills 31-17. They were really never in that game. I mean, they cut it to 7, but then Buffalo and Josh Allen just took the ball down the field and scored, and they put that to rest. I was hoping that obviously the Steelers would cover the 9.5, but they did not.
Right.
So they're out. But Tomlin, Mike Tomlin came out and said that, I'm coaching next year. There was talk of him stepping away from the game. But then if he did come back, he still has the year to fill in the contract.
Mhm.
He came out and said, no, I'm coaching the Steelers next year. And so I had heard that, Rooney's got the contract extension waiting for him when he
Yeah.
wants to sign it,
Yep.
which we said all along.
Mhm.
So that just is telling us that Mike Tomlin is going nowhere. He's staying in Pittsburgh. He's going to coach the team unless he decides he doesn't want to sign the contract extension and becomes a free agent next year.
Mhm.
He could do that. He could let the contract run out and then decide, I'm going to go coach somewhere else. He'll be no longer under the contract of Pittsburgh Steelers,
Yeah.
and he can move on if he decides to do that.
And I'm thinking he's thinking about it. This is my guess. I mean, I don't know. I can't say what the man is thinking, but the only reason I say that, if he was thinking long range to stay there, he'd be ready to get in the office and probably sign that extension. But it looks like he's leaving that open just to see if this is where I want to stay or not. I mean, I heard some criticism from players. I think it was Najee here. Something like a little sidebar towards Tomlin team not being ready or something like that, and that's not a good idea. If that's what he meant, he may not have meant that, but it just didn't sound right. He might have. Sometimes you'll speak faster than you're thinking of what you're saying, and it don't come out right, and then it be perceived the wrong way. So so that's why a lot of times it's best just to be quiet. And you would hope he would still be on the roster. He's a tough kid, plays hard for them, but you cannot criticize Mike Tomlin and how he coached the game.
The Najee Harris apparently said that Steelers need more structure.
Yeah.
And in-house rules. So kind of hinting around that
Well,
there seems
those?
to be some issues going on.
Yeah. He didn't name Tomlin, but when
Well,
you say those things, who's in charge of
right.
getting rules,
It's kind of like
structure, and everything
that
in
falls
your system?
back to the head coach.
Yeah,
It always
so-
does. So that's kind of the way that he's, they're dealing with some issues there.
Now, one of the veterans, like a Cam Hayward or somebody, might have to talk to Najee. Yeah.
Yeah, he might have to explain to him, you don't go to the press with that.
Right.
That's an in-house. You bring it up in-house and let Tomlin and let the management of the Steelers deal with that. But the bottom line is, you don't say that to the press.
Right.
Bottom
Yep.
line.
Mhm.
So
Right.
that's kind of where. So it looks like Tomlin's staying, coaching another year. If he signs the extension, who knows?
Right.
If he were not to sign the extension and become a free agent coach, his phone would ring off the hook. He would have a lot of job interviews.
Wouldn't take long.
It wouldn't take long.
No.
So as of now, the question is McCarthy staying with the Cowboys to, unfortunately, a lot of the chagrin of the Dallas Cowboy fans that want him out and felt that the team was not ready for the playoff game against. But I would say at least the Cowboys did score 32 points and did make a run at the Packers at the end of the game. They just got dug in a hole and they could not get out of it.
Right.
And I've seen that happen where teams come in for whatever reason. It happened to Pittsburgh one year against the Jacksonville Jags.
Yeah.
They didn't show up for, and they were 31-0 at halftime.
Yep. I remember that.
You remember that game. So that I see that happen. But I'm sorry, if I'm going to rate teams, I would rate the Eagles worse because the Eagles did not want to play. Dallas came in, they were having problems, but at least the offense made the attempt at the end of the game to get back into it. The Eagles were done. They didn't even want
Well,
to
they didn't
play
wanna
the
play.
game. They didn't even make an attempt at the end of the game to do anything.
Well, as a team,
As a
they
team,
wasn't ready
they
to
were
play.
painful to watch.
Yeah, well, they wasn't ready to play as a team. You
At
had
all.
I could see some guys that had the intensity wanted to play, but a lot of them was just there.
They were there. And
Yeah.
I would think that they were on the downward slide. We
But
knew that.
something
But I would think
in-house
that
is not right.
Sirianni, as the coach, you know the direction the team is headed. You got to turn it around. You got to
Yeah.
figure it out. You got to either
Unless
get
you are the one or the
Right.
reason for your downhill slide. Because see, you lose a team. If you lose them, this is what happens. I don't care what you say, it's not going to bring them back.
You're an Eagle fan, right? That's your of your team.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Do you want to see Sirianni come back, or do you think they need to change?
Not like that. I never want to see guys just get fired, so quickly, just be so quick on it. But some kind of talk something got to happen. It's got to happen with ownership and them talking. And then I think you get your leaders of your football team. The guys that you got established leaders. I mean, I don't know if some of them be back, but let's just say Kelsey was going to continue to play.
Yeah, he's
Fletcher
retiring.
Fletcher Cox. Let's just say those guys was playing. Jalen Hurts, since he's your quarterback. You get all those guys back and see those are your leaders. See if they can get this thing on the right track. If things don't seem, because you'll know in a meeting after you get with everybody where they all feel. If it's not feeling like it's a smooth thing that can happen, then you got to make a change.
Wait,
because sometimes it's just philosophy, different things is going. You got new coaches. They might be flipping stuff from the norm of what they used to do, which I can see that happen. Because one of the things Philadelphia used to do a lot of is what we talked about with Todd Bowles. You remember Philly used to blitz all kinds of stuff, cornerbacks.
Right.
They don't hardly did sitting back. What is that? That's not what that guy did. The one that left, and any other defensive coordinators, your
Matt
Johnson,
Patricia. Well, I guess
it was
before
the side.
him.
Yeah, all of them just sitting. It wasn't a major difference once Patricia took
No,
over. It was
he
no
didn't
different.
really do anything.
No, it didn't do anything. Could have just left the guy that was in there doing it. But it was the same stuff, and it wasn't what I seen in the past. So, players be unhappy to see that, hey, these are the things that made us excel. Now we're not doing them. Why aren't we? Now that causes dissension in the locker room. That causes situations in the locker room. And then their morale to play is not there. And that's what happened. Because you could see that they weren't ready to play. But when your morale is down, I'm telling you, when it's a, like they call lame duck coach or a situation is not good, I'm telling you, it is hard to play.
Well, this is what I question is you want to have the talk now because why didn't you have the talk? Were they having any kind of conversation before the Tampa Bay game when it was like the team is sliding down?
Well, I think that's too long to forget the Tampa Bay game.
Right.
It should have been way back. Should have been way back because they knew something was different. And then players started saying things that things were different. That was like at the 10th game of the season.
Right.
Now they had a great record
when they were 10-1.
But they weren't playing
They
good
weren't
from
playing
the beginning.
that good,
And
but
I
they were
understood
winning
that.
games.
Yeah, but I understood them not playing good at the beginning because you can't lose your offense and defensive coordinator and think things are going to be the same.
But
But when it started looking like a little fuzzy, now we need to talk. And I don't think that happened.
I don't
They
know.
thought it was just, hey, one day it's going to click. That switch is going to be turned on, and it doesn't work like that. It just don't work like that. Basketball, you see teams do that, might turn it on, but they got a bigger
we
season.
see it all the time. And
But it's
basketball is a
different.
different.
You don't have time to wait 3 or 4 games to turn it
No.
on. It has to be something that has to be addressed right now.
You could
because it's a short season.
Right.
You can't do that.
Because one game and you're out,
Yeah,
and
you
that's what
can't do
happened
it.
with Phil.
And I could see that they were playing worse or different thing. I'm watching no blitzing. So we just pass down the teams just right down the field. Well, if your secondary is not playing good, what am I going to do to help the secondary? Put pressure on the quarterback, and I'm blitzing.
But
I'm gonna take my chances.
The thing is, and this has got to be the way they play defense, the way they were taking horrible routes to make a tackle. That's what Ray Lewis said that's coaching 101. It's
Yeah.
like the look on his face when he was talking to the Mannings and he was watching that game and you could see like he was like so mad because he was just like,
Yeah, because I know
this is an NFL team. Why are they
and
playing
talent,
like that?
And they got the talent. They could be the
Yes.
talent that was on the field was better talent than Tampa.
Right.
If you look at it
If
from
you
a
look
talent
at it
standpoint.
just right.
But I don't care how much talent you got. If you don't have the morale to play, if you're not playing together, if you got dissensions in the ranks, I don't care how good you won't win. Ask the Chicago Bears after they won in '85, because they were dominant.
Yeah.
That team that came back
86.
was still good in '87, '88, but they didn't get there because of a lot of dissension, a lot of different. You had Ditka and Argad, Buddy Ryan, everything. It was too much
infighting.
Then he left, and it's too much stuff going on. That causes things in the ranks of the team. And even though you got great players and a great team that you always had, it don't run smooth. And that's what happened. That's what happened to the Eagles. But they just let it keep going. You know, it wasn't before Tampa because you can't turn that switch on. You need to do it earlier in the season. And it didn't happen. Yeah, I know it didn't happen because it kept going downward. Now, that's a problem. That's why I said Sirianni, you got to talk to him. But if it's not him, now you get rid of them assistants. You might have to get rid of them and get the guys you need if you're going to keep Sirianni. And then he's on a leash. Next year it's got to be different. And if it's not, and you start doing that stuff again, you're out of here. And that's how I get. That's the only way I let him stay.
Yeah. We're gonna. Yeah, I guess it's gonna.
Jeffrey Lurie's not. I mean, he's patient, but he's not patient.
He's not.
He's not going to be playing around with this.
He fired Doug Peterson.
That's right. He's not going to play around that.
Who won him a Super Bowl.
That's right.
But then he had 1 year, and then the year after, he fired him. He had that one down year. Yep. It wasn't a horrible year, but then
it wasn't. No,
but Peterson went in to Lurie and Roseman is the GM, and evidently Peterson took issue with Roseman and Lurie on wanting to fire certain assistants, and then and I'm kind of guessing here, that didn't go well, and they figured Peterson wasn't buying in. He needed to go, and they got rid of him.
Yeah.
So I guess we don't know about Sirianni yet. If he survives this, a lot of it is going to be what does he say to the owner Lurie, and how does he explain all this, and what kind of a program is he going to do to turn it around? It might mean get rid of pretty much all the assistant coaches or a lot of them, and then start over.
They might have to do that. And believe me, if Jeffrey Lurie talks with him and feels okay, and then they talk with the players and the players don't feel that, he still may get fired because Lurie knows you need your coach, but you definitely need the players to win.
Yeah, you still need player
buy-in. You need
buy-in.
your top guys to buy in. If they're not buying in to Sirianni anymore, you got to let them
go. You're
done.
done.
Yeah. Now, if they feel, okay, we can get this thing back going and they agree with me, I think they can do it. But they got to be on one accord or it's not working. And then you just make the change. And I don't think it'll take long because you got too much talent. You can come back, but you got to get things within that ranks together because that was too much talent to be playing like that. I don't care if they lose to them, but if
not like
play, they weren't playing.
Yeah, they didn't show up.
Yeah, I mean, they were not. Guys were not playing. I did not see the effort. I seen guys break tackles, but then other guys that if you hustle down, you might can cut that off before he gets to it. They just jog, stuff like that. That right there showed me. Now I give a guy like Cunningham, number 52, playing hard.
Right.
Playing hard because he hasn't been in a lot of play, but he went to the Super Bowl with him last year. But he's a guy that came over from, I think, Houston.
Right.
And he's all over the field. Everywhere. He had a couple interceptions he probably should have had early in the game. But he was playing hard. But his rest of his counterparts, where they at? In the linebacker position. Them guys I don't even know who they were. That's sad. And these is guys that I know that are good. So, that's coaching, yes. Like Ray Lewis said, the tackling part, that's coaching, but effort. You can't teach. I don't care how good a coach is. You can't teach effort. You got to either have it or you don't. And if you don't give effort, it's not going to work. And they were not giving effort in that game.
They
quit, and that's basically how you had to say it.
I don't even know why they got off the bus.
Dallas didn't quit.
Or the plane.
They just got outplayed, and
and
people just came at them.
I gave Dallas a little bit some credit because
they didn't quit.
They did not quit, and they made the run in the second half at the end. But the problem is, we've seen it. You dig that rabbit hole too deep, and Dallas dug that rabbit hole too deep, and you could not get out of that. But they made the attempt to come out.
And LaFleur, I thought, was a nice guy because, to me,
because
I thought
he could have put a 50 burger. On him,
he definitely, if he'd have kept that thing rolling, I thought he could get 50, 60 on him the way it was going. But you could see he took the foot off the pedal.
Right, he did.
And then all of a sudden he said, remember, because he took guys out the game.
He actually took Jordan Love out and then put him back in.
He said, y'all got to get back in there.
Because he took it off too, he took the foot off the pedal too soon.
Just keep smashing.
He should have kept smashing. Put the 50 burger up and never let off the,
But some guys feel like, they don't want to embarrass the team. But I'm going to tell you something. If Dallas was on all cylinders against the Packers and was playing offense like they've been, I guarantee you they would have put 50.
They would have put 50 on them if they could.
They just kept on going. So, you can't do that. I'm not going to worry about what the team think. I'm going to blow you out and make sure that now I can put these backups in. And he took his foot off in the third quarter, actually. Florida did. That's terrible. So both of those teams didn't play to their capabilities. I'm shocked. Like I said, you had a bad situation in Philly. I thought they were not ready to play, didn't want to play, no effort, and you're on the road. That's terrible. Dallas, I didn't expect that because they were at home. But Mike Strahan, if you heard him, he said he just think one of the things he think it's a disservice, even though they win at home. He feel now when he gets to the playoffs, it's a disservice that they're at home. He said because it's more like theatrical than NFL football. Everything is, look at the palace, look at this. It's like a show. And he said that's not, it takes the intensity away from a team. He said that's how he would feel if he had to play there. He said he loved coming here to play. He said because now we want to beat them in Jerry's world. He wanted to always go ahead and take
incentive, if anything.
It was incentive because they it's like
added
a show.
Incentive.
Yeah, see, and I think that can be distracting in a certain, because it is like it's not like a NFL game the way you normally would have it not in that stadium.
Moving, interesting to see what will happen. Mike McCarthy will enter the next. That's the last year of his contract is next year.
Yeah, and I think that's it. He's got to do something more. So
if he doesn't do anything, or they do another 12-5 and get bounced in the playoffs again, if they do that next year, it's a replay of this year. Then I think
he's gone. For sure.
Jerry will probably get rid of him. Jerry doesn't like change, though. If you look at the coaches he's kept, he kept Jason Garrett for a long time.
Yeah.
Dave Campo,
but what did they have in common? All of them. I think, did he even have Wade Phillips or no?
I don't think,
he was just a defensive coordinator, I think.
Yeah, he was in a couple, but he wasn't the constant.
No, the reason I say that, because, he's, like you said, he's patient with them, but it's the guys that are in-house guys. I used to say the yes guys.
Well, that's what it is.
Campbell,
that's
do whatever I tell you to do.
Dave Campo, right.
Jason Garrett.
They follow orders, and that's what Jerry likes. He doesn't want the coach. That's why someone said Belichick, and they said, no, Belichick's never going to go there. Because, see, the question's going to be, I've got some questions with Belichick. See, I know there's people think, oh, he's a great coach. He is.
Yeah.
But I read an article here. Belichick wanted to get rid of Tom Brady in 2014.
Mm-hmm.
He thought he was done because he's an older quarterback, and he thought the skills were diminished.
Right.
Okay.
The owner didn't want to, though.
The owner fought him and said, no, we're keeping him.
Yeah.
Brady won 3 more Super Bowls after that.
Yeah.
Okay. If he listens to the coach and the genius and gets rid of Tom Brady, they don't win 3 Super Bowls.
Right.
2.
Yeah.
Tom Brady, the Belichick, he's a great coach, but he's not very good offense. He's not good with skill players, acquiring skill, and he's not good with quarterbacks. And here's the other point. McDaniels with Mac Jones. Mac Jones played pretty good with when McDaniels was the offensive coordinator. What does Belichick do Jones' second year? He brings in Joe Judge and Matt Patricia to be the offensive coordinators. One guy's a special teams guy that got fired by the Giants. The other guy, Matt Patricia, is a defensive guy that was a head coach. He got fired by Detroit. You bring those two guys in, I'll be nice and call them two guys come in. I got another name I'll refer to them, but I won't say it.
Right.
Bottom line is you bring in these two guys that are really not offensive side of the ball with a young quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Mac Jones struggles miserably. They might play like crap. Mac Jones is done. His confidence level is shot. They could probably either release him or get a 6th or 7th round pick for him. Maybe he goes to another team, can resurrect his career, get his confidence back, and maybe be a good backup.
Mm-hmm.
You ruined the guy. You didn't go out and get an offensive coordinator to at least get it. You knew he had a young guy. You needed a really good quarterback guru, and you bring in two guys that have no skill in that level. You ruined that guy. You wanted to trade Brady. Belichick's a great coach, but I would not give him rule on offensive.
I wouldn't give rule on player personnel.
I wouldn't give him rule on player personnel. You got to give him a good. He's a good coach, but player personnel, I question it. No,
but see, just as I said about Jerry Jones, same thing with him. What's the common denominator for Judge and Patricia?
Yeah, they follow orders.
Yeah, they follow orders
because they're Belichick disciples.
They're from there. So it's easy to have them come in and do that instead of, at the time, I forgot who they had available. It was two good offensive coordinators that were available for him to get, and he didn't get them. Why? Because they're coming from somewhere else, and he don't want to do that. He wanted to stay with guys that's in-house.
That he can tell what to do.
And Patricia them said, yeah, we do it, but even when I read something too back then, that neither him or Judge were really comfortable with doing it, but they have taught offensive side of the ball in other areas before. They have, but not to the extent of doing. They haven't done it in years. So you're going to bring these two guys back and have two offensive coordinators that haven't done it in years and put that on them. I don't fault neither one of those guys. I fault Belichick completely.
Because you didn't go out and get the right guy.
People was killing those, Judge and
Patricia.
I don't point the finger at them at all.
No, because it's
you could have got another offensive
It's like I have an air conditioning problem in my house. I call a plumber, or no, I need an AC guy. I don't need a plumber. I need an AC guy. Yeah. I've got a problem. You have a problem, a plumbing problem. I don't call it an electrician. It's that concept is you have a younger quarterback who actually had a good rookie year, pretty good for a rookie, got him into the playoffs under Josh McDaniels, I think Josh McDaniels is a very good offensive coordinator. Yeah. That's where he is. He's not a head coach, but he's a good offensive coordinator. Yep. So,
that's where he needs to stay.
We'll get more into it because Belichick looks like he's getting the Falcon job, and they don't have a quarterback down there.
Yeah, I've been hearing rumors of people that's going there.
We'll get to those after the timeout. It's halftime on the Saturday Morning Sports Page. That's Dave Clark. I'm Pat Lucia, Western Reserve Radio.
Hi, it's Mark Means, host of By All Means, Tuesdays at 5, right here on Western Reserve Radio, WRDB, The Scourge.
In the small town of Elmira, New York, a boy was born into an all-American family. The odds of him achieving his dream in the fashion industry? 1 in 23 million. The odds of having a child diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I am Tommy Hilfiger, and my family is affected by autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
During the fall and winter, grilling season never ends, and Gessler Propane is your local supplier that makes sure you get your hard-earned money's worth. Why go to gas exchanges to pay higher prices for tanks not filled to capacity? Gessler Propane makes sure you're prepared for year-round grilling with 100% filled tanks at a reasonable cost. See Bob Monday through Friday, 10 to 4, and Saturday, 9 to 3 at Gessler Propane, 702 Youngstown Poland Road, Struthers, or call 330-755-9119. Gessler Propane. They got gas.
Mahoning Valley's leader for golf, Milk Creek Golf Course, is now booking tee times for 2024. We offer stay and play opportunities available with 9 area hotel partners. For more information, visit our website at millcreekmetroparks.org. Also, look for new, exciting opportunities coming soon, including an indoor player development center with Trackman, an indoor Callaway Club Fitting Center, and an Odyssey Fitting Studio in 2024. Follow us on Facebook at Milk Creek Golf Course or call 330-740-7112.
Welcome to Calvin's Barbershop.
You all got to see this.
I don't even want to know what you're looking at on that phone.
Well, you should. I was learning about the dangers of high blood pressure and that we need to get ours checked regularly. High blood pressure can increase the risk of heart attack or stroke, but this text program can help keep it at a healthy range. Just text Barbershop to 97779 to sign up.
I'll get right on it as soon as I'm done with this baby panda video.
Text Barbershop to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
Saturday morning sports page, Pat Lucia, Dave Clark, 330-707-4202, talking a lot of NFL football, coaching changes. For the record, if you just tuned in, Antonio Pierce will be the Raiders head coach. That's a done deal.
I never liked him again if they didn't get him. Only other person I'm going to take was Jim Harbaugh. And if anybody else would have came in there, I was done.
Right. And I think Mark Davis knew that.
Yeah.
And the son of Al Davis, Mark Davis, knew that he screwed up before when he should have just put Basashi as the head coach. Yep. I think it's Basashia, but okay. But bottom line is Davis screwed up before he wasn't going to screw up again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And all the players were
the players love
pro.
You better get them. You better, this is what they like Basashia back then.
Yeah, they were
like Pierce, so you better get him. Right. And then Coughlin, you see he's going to be like a, I forgot what they said, some kind of
like an advisor
to him, because he always thought that Pierce could be a coach. He had him as a player.
That's right, because he coached him as the player to one of the Super Bowls. Pierce was on I think on that third Super Bowl win, but it was when they beat the 18-0 New England. Pierce was the starting linebacker on the Giants.
And I always liked him.
Right, I always did too. As I was a Giant fan, always a hard-nosed, tough guy, good player.
Yep.
So that looks like that's a done deal.
Yeah.
So maybe Coughlin will come in and help Pierce
Maybe that trades I was hearing, the Devontae Adams to the Jets, and that might not happen because he's a big thing of wanting Pierce to be the head coach.
No, he'll probably want to stay.
Yeah, he probably want to stay.
Well, was it Max Crosby was wanting to was going to request a trade if they didn't put Pierce as the coach?
Yeah.
He came out and said it.
Yeah, they'll all be leaving.
And that's what I mean. You'd have all the
disgruntled players, your team to fall out the wayside.
You'd have to rebuild everything. So, the question's going to be, what are they going to do for a quarterback in the Raider land? Because they have, I think, Garoppolo, but I'll look at Garoppolo's contract. Is he a free agent or not? I think he only signed like a 1-year deal.
Yeah, I think he's a free agent.
Yeah, so he's a free agent. I don't know if they go with Jimmy G. Do they draft one of these quarterbacks?
Yeah, they 13th. I think they got the 13th pick. And they can do some stuff and try to move up to around the 8th.
Right.
And if you get up in there, now you might.
Do you get a Penix?
Yeah, that's what they said.
Maybe Bo Nix if he falls.
Yep, those guys could be there. They would love to have Jaden Daniels, but they said they would have to move up to about the 5th, 4th to maybe even have a chance at him. But Penix and Nix would be around, and they would. I think they would keep Aiden
O'Connor as maybe the backup.
Yeah, or you might start him.
You might start him and bring the rookie in.
See how they go.
Yeah, right now, Las Vegas is 13. Behind Denver, 12, Minnesota, 11, Jets, 10. The Bears sitting at 9.
Yeah, they're just in a bad spot because who you say Denver's for the Raiders. They could take a quarterback. And then before Denver, did you say Minnesota?
Minnesota's 11.
They could take a quarterback. See, all those guys could definitely use a quarterback. So,
Yeah,
they would
because
probably have to do something to get up there or get a top free agent or something.
as of now, New England would sit at 3.
Yeah.
So
even though they have talked about even our guy Russ being a Raider, there's been talk about that Russ Wilson going to the Raiders, and that is possible. He could be a stopgap until they get a top flight quarterback. Or O'Connell, like I said, he keep going because he shows spurts of good things, but he's got to get groomed more. Aiden O'Connell, but he's got it's good he played all those games because he got the experience now.
Well, that's where this part will get real interesting because ultimately they're going to have to. Right now, Atlanta has the 8th pick. So if they do hire Belichick, then the question is going to be, then what do they do at 8? Now they need a quarterback.
I just want to see if he's going to be head of player person. I don't know if Arthur Blank will help, allow that. They're good friends. That's one of the reasons I said I think they're going to hire him because they are friends.
But the question you have to say is, Belichick wants the culture change and do things his way, sort of to speak. Where does Arthur Blank draw the line in that he says, okay, I will do certain things, but I got my GM here. He's going to be the player personnel guy, and he has the last say, not you. So this is what's interesting going to say with Belichick is how does he get along with the GM? I have a look. I'm talking and see who their GM is. Do they need a GM or did they get rid of him too?
Yeah.
But the point is, Arthur Blank has to make a decision because when you look at Bill Belichick's decisions personnel, again, this guy wanted to trade Brady in 2014. And if he got his wish and Kraft trades Brady to another team, I could go out on a limb and say I don't think the Patriots win those 3 Super Bowl after Brady left. They don't get those 3 Super Bowls after 2014.
No, I doubt that.
No. So
I mean, we don't know. But
we don't know.
Doubt it.
But I doubt it.
Highly doubt that happened. Not all 3.
Because I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo would have been healthy enough to stay in there. And I have a feeling that, again, Terry Fontenot is he's
still the GM, right?
GM.
Yes.
2021. So he's been there going on 3 years, January 19th of 2021.
Interesting to see what happened.
So the question's going to be, does Belichick keep him? Or, I'm sorry, does Blank keep him? And does he tell Bill he's the guy you report to, but he's got the power? So Fontenot's going to have decision making, and you're not going to tell him, you're getting, you have to cut this guy, get this guy. Terry Fontenot is the guy that's calling the shots player personnel wise, and Belichick really doesn't have much of a say.
Yeah.
Belichick may not like that.
Yeah. Now, you might allow him to have input, and there's nothing wrong
with that. Have input,
but this guy had
final say.
Got to be the other
Terry
guy.
Fontenot was going to be the guy making the final decision, and he'll listen to Belichick. But you see, the thing is, the way, there was this talk about Belichick used to put the tape across the door of the locker room and wouldn't let the owner in, like, because it's my locker room. That was one of the things I heard. I don't know if that's true. The point is, and supposedly, Kraft was glad to get his team back after Belichick left because he pretty much gave Bill the authority to run it because he was running Super Bowls. But Kraft never thought he had a lot of input because Belichick did everything. But the input he had was the Brady when he wanted to trade Brady in 2014. Kraft said, no, we're keeping him. And it worked out.
Yeah.
But again, I like Belichick. I think he's one of the best, maybe one of the best coaches of all time in the discussion.
Right.
I think as a coach, he's fine. but not as a player personnel.
Yeah, you got to leave that part alone.
When you take Brady out of the formula, Belichick is a sub 500 coach. That's the reality.
Yeah.
You take Belichick's record without Tom Brady, it's not good.
Yeah, I know. I just I just don't know if the Atlanta, and I read things that certain players, he didn't connect with some of them. Not gonna do with and that happens sometimes with the age difference.
That's the
If
other.
he don't connect with these players, you got to make sure he can connect with these. You got a young football team in Atlanta too, and they come around. They got some talent.
Bill Belichick will be 72, April 16th of this year. He's 71.
And that's the difference. Him and Pete Carroll being older are two different guys.
But they're two different. Yeah.
Carroll can adapt to it because he adapts to the players instead of them trying to adapt to him.
No. Carroll,
he adapts to them.
You could see Carroll is a wholly different. Their approach to coaching is realistically totally 180.
Yeah.
Belichick's got that way. He sits, doesn't say a lot on the sidelines. Carroll is the rah-rah, up the guy's helmet, tap on the helmet, great play.
Yeah.
Run out with the guys, goes up to the guy, great play, puts his arm around him, cheerleader.
Yeah, he's all that.
He's all that. And
he's got energy. He got a lot of energy.
He's got a boatload of energy for a 70-year-old man, 71-year-old man.
Yeah.
So Carroll
a big difference.
Is like wired up. Where I guess technically Carroll's 72. I stand corrected. So bottom line is Carroll's got so much energy. They're different coaches. Carroll does relate to the younger players, and the players like him, and you could see that it's a different dynamic. His approach to coaching is different than Belichick. They're both very successful, but it's just a different his approach. But he relates. I think Carroll, you could see, relates better to the younger players,
right? Yep.
Than
Belichick,
Belichick does.
It's going to be interesting.
So this is going to be an interesting situation.
Yeah.
Where does Carroll get another job? Don't know yet. Belichick looks like to be the Atlanta's head coach.
Yeah.
Again, Harbaugh looks like he's headed to the Chargers.
Yeah, I just seen something on here of they offered him. Did you see that? $90 million. That's something. Chargers. Oh, yeah, I know they're supposed to be Los Angeles, but San Diego Chargers, as far as we're concerned, they said something about they're going to offer him $90 million.
Harbaugh.
Yeah, because they want to make sure they put enough out there to go against that Michigan offer. The Michigan having them come back. So they want to offer him enough to come to the NFL. And I just have seen it.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. And but it was just shocking. If I see something like that from Cincinnati or San Diego.
Well, because they're usually Spanos, let's call it. The Spanos family always has a little bit of the cheaper, people always look at the Spanos families being tight with the purse strings and they're cheap. To be blunt and to the point, they don't want to spend the money, but I think they know that they have to get a guy like Harbaugh, who and I know is going to win.
Yeah.
Jim Harbaugh will win if you make him your coach. He is the best coach right now. I think he's the best. I think he's the best coach in college football.
Yeah.
He built that Michigan team. He had a rough way to go. He didn't start out good, but he changed it. Got his team finally. It took him a few years, but if he stay there, he's going to win more national titles.
Right.
But he's not staying there because the NCAA is going to crack down. If Harbaugh stays, I'm going out. The NCAA it'll be like the SMU death penalty. I am convinced the NCAA will lower the boom on Michigan if Harbaugh stays there because they are so mad at him over those hamburgers. They are just apps, and they've got nothing to do with that. That stealing of the signs is crap. That's got nothing to do with it. Yeah. They're still mad because Harbaugh basically gave them, go basically jump off a bridge, NCAA, with your hamburgers. I ain't even talking to you about I gave recruit hamburgers. This is a $1 billion industry. You're talking during the COVID crisis. I didn't follow some kind of protocol, and I gave these recruits some hamburgers, and you're mad because I told you to jump off a bridge. The NCAA does not like to be told to jump off a bridge.
Right.
And again, I'm I'm paraphrasing this. I'm just assuming that Harbaugh did, and well, I know Harbaugh. I know he did it, or I'm convinced he did it. But I think the NCAA is still mad at him for that, and they're gonna. And it's not have anything to do with these stupid sign stealing thing. That's got nothing to do with it.
No, I agree.
But they're going to use that.
Yeah, they'll use that.
That's what they'll use. But we know the underlying cause is the hamburgers.
Yeah. I mean, they were upset about that, and he wouldn't talk.
No,
so dumb.
He was not going to cooperate with them because he thought it was stupid, which it is.
Yeah, well, the same thing with the basketball coach, when he was at what is it, Wichita, whatever. You know what we thinking Snyder.
When he was at Missouri, he was the one that kept
he
kept feeding the kid. His wife kept making Sunday dinner for the basketball team, Quinn Snyder. And Quinn Snyder's wife would make food for the kids and have them. He had them over for Sunday dinner. Yep. The NCAA found out about it and said, well, that's an extra benefit. You can't do it. Mm-hmm. And he did it again anyway. And they really got mad. And he ended up getting out of college coaching because the NCAA was going to harass him to no end because he was feeding the players.
Yep.
So Harbaugh got into it with the hamburgers with the NCAA. They're not letting go of that. Now, they're not going to say that. They're going to use this stupid thing with the sign stealing, which you and I know is a crock. That's stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, the sign stealing to me has got nothing to do. Even Deion Sanders came out on that and said, hey, look, they could have my signs. They got to stop it.
Yeah.
I knew, it's not like baseball. This is football. And you got to, you execute. Again, I watched all those back when I was going to college down in Ohio State. Everybody knew what Woody Hayes was doing. You could have every sign. You knew what Woody Hayes was doing. Woody didn't care because he was just going to out execute and win. You run the ball with Big Lyman and Archie Griffin and Corny Green and running backs, run the ball down your throat, stop it. And he knew nobody could stop it. Pete Johnson up the middle inside the 5-yard line. Everybody knew Pete Johnson was getting the football. So I don't care what sign stealing you had. You knew what he was doing. Again, you couldn't stop it. Same thing with Harbaugh and these stupid signs. Only thing I hold back against Harbaugh, I don't even know why you did it. You didn't have to do it. I don't think he knew. I personally don't think Harbaugh knew about it. I really don't believe Harbaugh knew about it. It was that guy on the staff, whatever his Stallion, whatever his name was. Yeah. He did it on his own. I don't think Harbaugh cared. He didn't know about it, but the NCAA is coming down on him. That's why he's getting the hell out.
Yeah. I would. I mean,
and I don't blame him.
I wouldn't deal with the NCAA.
No.
They're terrible. I can't stand them.
Right. You should hear what Mike Florio says about it. I was listening to a little, oh my gosh. You think we're critical. You should hear him.
Yeah, I know. I've seen.
Oh, I've heard him talk. He was on Dan Patrick talking about it.
Yeah, I know he does.
Oh my gosh.
It's just, it's a
bar the door.
Yeah. So he needs to just come on to the NFL and coach there.
Harbaugh will coach in the NFL. I think I think if they're offering that kind of money, he's got Justin Herbert. He sees that team and he's got the talent there. And and I know if he takes that team over, he'll have them in the playoffs right away. He could turn that team around in 1 year. I am convinced if Jim Harbaugh becomes the LA, we call him the San Diego Charger head coach.
Yeah. I think they're in the playoffs and
he will have them in the playoffs the first year.
I really believe that too.
I could see them. I'll go on a limb. He could be in the AFC finals in his first year with that team. With that quarterback and Harbaugh as the coach, you get him in the NFL, you get a good enough GM and they get some players that Harbaugh wants and they pick guys up. Harbaugh's going to, because he's a great coach.
Yeah.
And he can have the Chargers in the playoff right away.
Yeah.
And that's why the Spanos know if we get this guy and we give him enough money and we get him out here, he can have us not only in the playoffs, he can have us like in the AFC finals.
And that's why a lot of fans in Philly wanted Sirianni out because they want one of the two. They wanted Belichick or Harbaugh.
Right.
And they want them before they're gone. They want them now, to get them before that's gone. But that may not happen. They may keep, like I said, it may keep Sirianni. But they better get things together.
Well, Sirianni better say the right things to Lurie.
And he better say the right things to convince those players
that
we're going to correct things. Because if you don't, and your star players don't believe in what's being said, you're going to get a performance like you've seen, because guys are not going to play. I don't care about Jeff Lurie. They know they can go elsewhere and play. Somebody's not. You think another team is not going to take a Jalen Hurts or whoever
Oh
they
yeah,
don't want to play?
we see quarterbacks.
Yeah, they'll take them. So
somebody'll.
Yeah, so they know they got to have their leaders have to buy in. And if they're not buying into them, they can't have Sirianni around.
No,
but I don't want to crush a guy after just 1 year.
But I think the
of
thing
that happening
is the way you saw the downslide.
Yeah, and it just kept on going, and not to do anything,
and then not to show up,
and not to change anything. That's what I should say.
The thing that I saw that really bothered me more with Philly than Dallas got down in a bad rabbit hole, but tried to get out. Philadelphia never even showed up to play.
And that is, you got to put it on him, because you got to have your team ready to go.
Right.
And that's why people wanted McCarthy out, because they felt the team wasn't ready to go. I don't know if they were or not, but I do believe this. You ever seen a boxing match when whoever is the favorite comes out and think, oh, this is going to be a cakewalk. I'm not worried about it. I'm here in my hometown. This is a cakewalk. They can't do anything with me. And then all of a sudden, this avalanche coming, you can't do nothing about it.
No.
That's what happened in a fight, and that's what happened. I remember if you heard anything, DeMarcus Lawrence said before this game, we're going to make sure that they get the ball first. We want them to get the ball first, because we're going to come out and punch them in the mouth. He said that. He said, we're going to come out and punch them in the mouth and let them know this is the playoffs, and we'll shut that down, even though they've been having things going good with Green Bay. Well, Green Bay came out and punched them in the mouth.
And that's what happened. Green Bay actually.
And I'm going to tell you, Jordan Love did have a great game, but you know who was a big factor? Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
He was ridiculous. They couldn't tackle him. That guy was making big runs all day long, catch the ball, everything.
I don't know what happened in that. I watched Aaron Jones.
He was injured most of the season.
Yeah, and they said that.
Like he was fresh as ever.
Oh my gosh, he was like first week in
the
season. Like, hey mom, I got brand new wheels and tires, and I'm ready to go, and I'm energized. And just put me in, coach. Turn it on, and I will run down the field, and no one will touch me, and no one will stop me. And that's exactly what Aaron Jones does, man. He was just like, great. I feel great. My body's great. I've got, I'm feeling 120% here.
Yep.
And yeah, you're right. Again, when it was 27-10, I know I don't want to beat this dead horse, but Aaron Jones took that ball, ran down the field. It was 34-10. Game was over.
Yeah.
And that was it. But that was a wrap. The thing is, though, like I said, the coach, I think Harbaugh will be a Charger coach. I think they're going to give him enough money. They have to get him. And if they get Jim Harbaugh, I think he's ultimately they'll win that division. I could see them getting in the playoffs.
Woo.
That's going to be a heck of a division.
You still got Peyton to getting the Broncos around. Pierce has energized the Raiders. Yeah, Andy Reid is Andy Reid.
Andy
so
Reid
have KC
now
ready.
Rumor is he may retire.
After the season?
Think what hurt. I tell you what I think hurt them. I think that Eric Bieniemy not being the offensive coordinator had an impact on Kansas City's offense. I just think it did. I know Andy Reid.
I think it does too.
But everybody says, well, Andy Reid makes all the plays. Andy Reid this, Andy Reid that.
Mm-hmm.
But every time I looked on that head, when Eric Bieniemy was on there in Kansas City, he always had those sheets out, and he had the headset, and he was yakking away and talking and doing. So I said, I think Kansas City hasn't quite been the same since Eric Bieniemy left.
Well, I think that for sure, but I thought they were big-headed in thinking that they can get away with not having a top-flight receiving core. Now, Rice has come along now. Rasheed Rice has really come along, but look, it's at the end of the season. I'm talking about during that whole season, their receiving core was terrible.
No, it was.
It was terrible, and they got to address that for next season. To go with Rice, they got to put some guys. They got to get some guys in there. If they just stop Mahomes, it'll be okay. These guys couldn't catch it.
Kadarius Toney needs to go back to learning how to catch a ball. I've never seen a guy drop so many balls ever. And
that's a lack of concentration,
and that's just focus. Yeah,
too talented to be doing what
exactly. I don't know. It's like I said, read into it what you want to read into it, but the bottom line is you got to catch the ball. Kadarius Toney killed Kansas City on so many different plays during the season, not catching the ball. Then he lined up offside, and that just made matters 20 times worse. So bottom line is, I think Bieniemy not having Eric Bieniemy as their offensive coordinator had a negative impact on Kansas City's offense too.
Yeah. Well,
now the question's going to be, he will probably be out. Can't Washington, I'm assuming, will do a scorch the earth and do away with all of the coaches, and a new guy will come in and start hiring. I don't know if Bieniemy gets to stay there under the new coach, if the new coach wants him, or does he go somewhere else, at least for an offensive coordinator job.
Yeah.
Which he will. He'll definitely be in demand for an offensive coordinator, because I think will Kansas City take him back, or say, hey, we need you back, or does he go to another team and work for another coach as an offensive coordinator? Or does he maybe he gets a head coaching job here?
Yeah, finally. Maybe so. I mean, I didn't heard that Pierce would even take him in, even though he likes the guy, he got the young guy that came over with coaching with him. That's a friend of his. He might want to keep that guy
I
there.
tend to think
he might, try to keep him. If he can't,
well,
then,
I think what Pierce will probably do is I think he'll probably keep the play who's he comfortable with.
Yeah.
And as long as Mark Davis is saying, hey, you're the guy, you keep who you want, I think he'll probably tend to keep those guys.
Yeah. I think you want to keep Patrick Graham defensive coordinator.
Right, because the defense played really good.
Yeah.
The quarterback was very young.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
We'll see do they go draft a quarterback? Do they make a play to get Russell Wilson from Denver? Does Denver trade? Because I think Russell Wilson starts his new contract up. And then I don't know exactly. I have to look. I know there's a buyout. I think they have to give him $39 million, and then he goes, but then they take a cap hit. They take like a big cap, $85 million cap hit.
Yeah.
Cap hit that Denver takes if Russell Wilson goes out the door. If they trade him or cut him, they take that. He'll have dead cap money.
Right.
But it sounds like Peyton's going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So Russell Wilson said he wanted to stay at Denver, but we know that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah. And then sometimes you want to say the right things.
Right.
At the moment, it's the right thing.
Well, Russell Wilson's going to say the right
guy.
things because he knows how to, politically, he knows how to politically not say the wrong things.
Right.
Although people interpret some of the things he says, but when you say him on face value, he says the right things.
Yeah. Yep.
He's a smart enough guy, knows how to navigate his way through the media and the NFL. Very positive, always upbeat, never says anything bad. You ever listen to him, he's very...
They was trying to get him to say something bad about Peyton, but he wouldn't.
Nope.
All the screaming in his face. No, he still didn't say anything. Nope. Well, he's a coach, and he was.
That's it. That's what he says.
That's what he told me.
Yep.
Even though I thought it was demoralizing the way he was screaming at a veteran like that. A lot of guys was like, really
have
upset
problems with some of the way they had. See, Dable's running into that problem down in New York. Is the way he treats those assistants, and the way he treated Daniel Jones. He threw that tablet at him after Jones was getting sacked. I know it was a bad interception, but people are questioning whether or not Dable is able, because the way the Wink Martindale thing went down was not a good thing for the Giants.
At all.
At all. So some people question whether or not Dable is really a head coach because of the way he interacts with his assistants. Urban Meyer had the same problem in Jacksonville with the way he treated his assistant coaches and players, and the whole thing turned on him, and he was gone in 6 games?
Yeah.
Whatever.
That's what happened.
Saturday morning sports page. We had to get our picks done, Dave Clark. Coming up here in the last fourth quarter. Western Reserve Radio, Pat Lucia, Dave Clark, Saturday morning sports page.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more tax-free driving tips, visit stoptextsstopwrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. Take one.
Behold the angry giant.
Try it again, Alberto.
Behold the angry giant.
Perfect. Good luck tonight.
Behold the angry giant.
Yay! Read me another one, Dad.
This is WWE superstar Alberto Del Rio. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Western Reserve Radio is the Valley's online source for sports talk and local live events. Tune in and be a part of their live weekly shows, as well as all of the hard-hitting action of Youngstown Phantoms hockey, high school football, and the GDFL. Find them at westernreserveradio.com. Tune in and the Live 365 app to be a part of the area's sports conversation. Be sure to visit them on Facebook at Western Reserve Radio and on Twitter at WR_radio.
Hiya, Queen of All Knowledge here, reminding you, creeps out there on the internet hack, scam, and trick savvy cyber users every day, but we can fight back. It's as easy as IC3. If you're a victim of online crime, don't give up. Visit IC3, the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center. Your tips help the FBI track down cyber criminals around the world. Report your crime to www.ic3.gov today.
Saturday morning sports page coming right back at you. Dave Clark is with me this morning. I'm Pat Lucio. It is the fourth quarter of the show. Heading into the last quarter, Dave Clark, you were 4-2 last week. I was 2-4. I should have obviously. I think back. The pick I really should have picked was the Eagles. I went with the Eagles, figuring he could right the ship. When everybody in the beginning of the game all picked the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, that should have been the red flag for me to change my pick.
I picked him because I told you that I was, but then how they're playing,
and you were right.
I didn't even hesitate.
You were right. I had confidence Sirianni would could make the change and adjust. No,
I don't think you could do that in football. I
No.
don't think you can turn on the switch.
You can't.
Just like that. You can't. It's different than like basketball.
When it's sliding down like that,
you got to catch it because once they get momentum, you usually don't get it.
You're downhill racer. You're going down that hill in those skis. You're not going to do a U-turn,
right,
and come back.
Yep, that's how it goes there.
Let's go ahead. Start the picks. Texas at the Ravens. 9.5 points. A heavy line. Not quite 10.
9.5 for the
9. The Ravens lay 9.5 to the Texans, who beat the Browns last week, 45. We didn't really get into that game. I think the Browns defense played terrible, but
yep, they did.
They also fired Stump Mitchell, and they fired. I didn't even get into that whole thing. They fired running backs coaches Stump Mitchell, and there was someone else.
Van Pelt.
Brad Van Pelt was like the offensive coordinator, coach, quarterback coach. He's out.
Yep.
Stump Mitchell was out. People are going, why did you fire these guys? I mean, like.
He said he'd bring it in. Now, I do like him bringing in Deuce Staley.
Yeah.
That's going to be good, but I don't know. I don't know who his offensive coordinator is going to bring in. Bring in Bieniemy.
Maybe they do. Maybe they go get Eric Bieniemy.
That'd be something.
Bieniemy's phone's going to be ringing off the hook.
Yeah, it is.
Because he's going to be getting offensive coordinator positions. Are going to want him. I mean, I'm a Giant fan. The Giants that whole thing with Wink Martindale was not handled well. Yeah. Dable fired the two right-hand men, linebacker coach, and the other defensive assistant, who happened to be brothers. I think they're named Wilkins. And Dable fired him. Evidently, he didn't consult with Wink Martindale.
And that's a problem.
And that's a problem.
Yeah, because I can still see you still firing him, but let's talk to him and get some input. He just went right over, didn't
No,
say anything.
he just fired him. And then Wink Martindale said, "You didn't even consult me. I'm out of here."
Yep. Because if you could fire them just like that and don't even talk to me, that's what he said too. He said, "I'm done.
I'm done." So now, and the Giants, I think Johnson was the offensive line coach. They fired him, and that was his best friend. But that offensive line was problematic. And like I said, the Giants, not to start going off the other end of going off the range here, but getting back to the Texans and the Ravens, we didn't get into the Browns loss. I think Flacco clock sounded 12, and Flacco went back to being the backup that came off the couch because he didn't look that good.
Well, he threw them interceptions, but he's been doing it.
But he's been doing that.
And the defense has just been so good,
and they didn't play
along with the other part of the offense. They just didn't do it. Couldn't do it.
So the Ravens have the bye, coming off the bye week. They didn't even play. These guys, Lamar's had a couple weeks to rest.
Yeah.
9.5 points today at 4:30. This is the ESPN and ABC game. Texans at the Ravens. Ravens are basically 9.5 points to the Texans.
I'm taking the Texans, even though they played early in the year against
20-6 was that final, I believe.
Yeah, 20 or something like that.
That was the first game of the year.
Yeah, I think 28-6, something like that. But whatever, it didn't matter. That's a different. It's a different.
For the record, it was 25-9.
That's a different.
That was
team.
the first game of the year.
Yeah, completely different team. Now I still think they got too many little things that they can take advantage of. Ravens can to win, but I don't think they'll win by 9.5 or 10 points. So I'm taking the points.
Yeah, this is a tough.
It's a tough one though, but I'm just going to think they are.
If you start looking at Lamar Jackson's playoff history, it hasn't been good. I mean, he's been erratic. I guess the question is going to come down to, can the Texans keep this thing close? Rookie quarterback, but Stroud has basically 28 degrees at game time. Going to be a cold day for the Texans. 28 degrees.
Yeah, that's another thing. I didn't even factor that.
Sunny. No rain, it looks like. Cloudy, sunny, partially. So I'll be the weatherman. It's 28 degrees there. So,
yeah,
it's going to be a colder day. 4:30 going to be pretty much. I'd probably have one day. It's going to be sunset there probably by the time kickoff rolls around, or close to. So I guess the question comes down to: do the Ravens cover the 9.5 spread? Their home team. That is a lot of points.
A lot.
Can Houston keep it? I'll take the Ravens begrudgingly. I'll take them and think Lamar will, continue his role, and Texans are going to play a good game, but I think the Ravens will cover. Let's go to the night game. The Packers at the 49ers. It's 62 degrees and nice out there in San Fran. It's going to be sunny, cloudy, so it's going to be okay. No rain. This is now 10 points. Wow, it went up a half a point. So now the San Francisco is laying 10 points.
I'm gonna actually take them in this game. I'm gonna actually give up these 10 points and take them. They should be able to do it. We'll see though. We don't know. Now, as long as they're not overconfident. I'm just reading about Todd Archer. He's the guy that covers the Cowboys. You see him on all the games. The announcer comes in, and he said before the Cowboys game, the interviews they did the day before and the day of the game early in the day, he said he got the sense of overconfidence with the Cowboys that was just unbelievable. Like they just was going to come out.
So they were just dismissing the Packers.
Yeah, they just dismissed them.
And love them.
Yeah, and then now the comment that I heard myself on the interview with DeMarcus Lawrence, I definitely believe that. Just reading this just now, I believe it then, because he did say we're going to come out there. If we win the toss, we're going to defer and give it to them so they can get the ball first, so we can punch them right in the mouth. And that
49ers.
Yeah, no, that's what
Green
Marcus
Bay.
Lawrence told.
This is
Cowboys.
Yeah,
and Todd Archer was just saying the overconfidence that the Cowboys had coming into that game, and then
they've certainly played like it.
Yeah, and so I don't think San Francisco will do that. I think they'll have a lot more respect type thing, and they'll come in there and just be ready to take care of business. So I'm giving up 10.
Yeah, I'll do too. I'll take 49ers.
Yep.
Let's move to the Sunday game. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Lions. Obviously, the Buccaneers are playing with house money. Now they're talking about signing Baker Mayfield long term. Todd Bowles loves Baker Mayfield. He wants him to be the quarterback next year. So he's a Baker Mayfield. He's his quarterback.
Right. And he's had a great season.
And he's played very good. I mean,
28 touchdowns, I
Yep.
think 10 interceptions, something like that during the whole season.
yeah, Baker's
That's not
played
bad.
very good
Bad.
for the Bucks. And Todd Bowles is going to blitz.
Yeah, he's coming. Jared
'Cause
Goff better be ready.
He is, again, it's Mariano Rivera. The pitch is coming. You got to hit it. And Todd Bowles is looking at you and saying, I'm going to blitz. You got to stop it. And the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are healthy and have a good defense, very good defense. Again, you got I think Bowles, one of the better coaches in the league. And I think he's really a great defensive coach, but he's a good coach overall, really good coach. And this house money.
Yeah. And I'm taking the house
It's
money.
6.5 points.
Yeah, I'm taking the house money. It's 6.5. I still think Detroit
Oh,
will
now they
win.
lowered it to 6.
To 6. I'm still taking the Bucks. I think Detroit should win the game. But I think it's going to be a hard fight.
In the dome, I like the Bucks. I'll take the points as much as I was going to say I was going to go all home teams.
Yeah.
But this is one I think.
Yeah, I can't do it. In Denver, not Denver. Detroit's pass defense is not the greatest.
No.
So they got the receivers that can exploit stuff. Tampa Bay do have it.
If they give Baker Mayfield time to throw the ball,
you got Evans and Godwin and Palmer.
They do question Detroit's defense.
Yeah, their pass defense. They're good against the run. I think they're second or third in the league against the run. They're like 28th against the pass. They give up a lot of big plays.
Baker does bother me sometimes. He can be
Erratic.
inconsistent. Yeah,
no, he gets erratic.
And that's
we haven't
the part
seen it so far, but you'd be like lurking behind a tree saying, "When is it coming? When is it coming?" That's the thing about him.
That's the only thing. It's like if the clock hits 12, Baker could turn into the pumpkin, and then you could be kind of screwed.
Well, I'm just hoping that if they can run the football with White, and I think they got another back they put in there. If they can run it, maybe he won't be erratic. But if you put all the pressure on him where they can't run, and he's got to pass, he gets erratic when that happens. So it's going to be important for Tampa Bay to run the football. And if they can, I think they can stay in the game. And if they can't, I think they're going to get blown out.
Let's go to the Chiefs at the Bills. This is the big one. This is the night game at 6:30. Going to be a cold day, 20 degrees at night. A lot of people are asking the NFL, why didn't you put the Chiefs and the Bills at 3:00? So at least the fans would be not sitting at night. At least you'd get a half there where they'd be in the daylight.
Yeah, and let San Fran them play.
And Buccaneers at the Lions play the Sunday late because it's in a dome.
Right.
And I've heard this from a lot of different radio analysts that say, you don't understand. It's a TV game, not a fan. They care about TV ratings. They don't care about the fans.
Right.
Roger Goodell cares about, because billions and billions of dollars are coming in from TV. And
prime time.
Prime time.
That's what they want in the prime time slot.
So this is a -3. Chiefs get -3 on the road for Patrick Mahomes' first road game, I believe. Playoff road game.
Yeah. Well, I actually want Buffalo to win.
I'm rooting for the Buffalo Bills.
I'm taking Kansas City because I don't think they will win.
Yeah, I know.
Because they are erratic too.
And they've got injuries too.
They got injuries. And I know Josh Allen will make big plays, but he might make a bonehead play too. He hasn't, but he's usually, even against the Pittsburgh stayed close.
No, they did. They hung around until Josh Allen ran the ball down the field
and he ran
on that keeper and ran it in. That was the game.
He needs to do it against KC. He needs to make sure that he's not having to be the 40 attempts of throwing the football, but run the football.
They got injuries too. I don't
Yeah,
know.
run it. He's gonna have to be running.
This has push written all over.
Yeah, I
it.
know. I'm taking KC on it.
But yeah, do you go with the Patrick boy?
Yeah, I'm going with KC. And who's early? I got Tampa Bay, and then San Fran.
You got the Texans road game, home, road.
Wow,
You took one home team and 3 road teams.
Man, that's weird.
That is weird.
That doesn't bode well for me. That don't usually bode really good for me. Not that I don't think those home teams will win, because I do think the Detroit Lions will win.
I just don't think.
I don't think Buffalo. I don't know
cover.
if they will. Yeah, I just don't think they're going to cover. That's all. I do believe they'll win.
I don't know. I'll go out on a limb and I'll take the Bills to win.
I actually want to see them win.
I want to see them win.
I don't have no confidence. That's bad.
I know. And you have every right to believe that. I was reading a great book.
Plus, the referees help Kansas City. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I know. You know what? That's almost
them.
the reason why to change my pick.
Yeah.
You just said that right.
Yeah.
They're going to get every call in the book.
I mean, come on. The guy's helmet is broke. You can't. You got to take a time. It's got to be a charge timeout.
That should have been a charge timeout.
You can't be on the field changing helmets and equipments and stuff. That is a charge.
That should be a charge timeout, and they didn't
Even
do it.
the guy that was doing the announcing said that. The referee, when they asked him, said, "Can they do that?" He said, "No, that's supposed to be
they're
charged."
not.
So they saving time. They doing stuff. Everything geared for them to be successful. That's what make me upset. When you have a great team, just let them be great. That's what used to upset me with New England. Very good football team, but they gave everything to them. That's why people hate Brady and all that, because everything was sacrificed for that team to make sure that they win. At least it looks that way. It looks bad. It looks that way, though.
I'm reading this great book about the AFL. It's called The Little League That Could. And I didn't know this, but when they went to merge, which would have been in, I believe it was 1906 at the end of 66 or 65, where they went to merge at the end of 65
with the
NFL. That what really
they didn't do it then, though, right?
They did, but they didn't have. The weird is you always thought they needed to.
Yeah,
they didn't have to. They said that the AFL had signed a TV deal with NBC for $36 million, like the year before, and they were fine. They were like, they had 3 Titans and the Denver Broncos and one other team were struggling financially. But after they signed the TV deal, and then Sonny Werblin bought the Jets, and he had money, and he was he was very progressive in figuring stuff out and like putting the Jets, like he marketed the Jets in the departments in the retail stores with just all types of advertisements in these stores and Jet stuff, and people are like, "Oh, the Jets," and he was rivaling the Giants,
right?
And he was wanted to overtake the Giants as the team in New York, and it just goes to show they had the money they needed, and they didn't really have to merge with the NFL, and that they ultimately did because they were poaching players off the NFL. But here was the other thing that I thought was interesting about this book is that the AFL in the beginning, people realized that expanded the job market in the NFL for football players. And the NFL never didn't really look at the black colleges. That's where the AFL got all their players, a bunch of their players, Buck Buchanan.
Yeah.
They were rattling off Willie Lanier. And they said that the AFL, though, the NFL went to the SEC, the big schools that predominantly white players.
Right.
The AFL went to the smaller black schools, Grambling, Morgan State, and they got the players from there, and they scouted them, and they were signing all the players from there. And that's what they said. That's why the AFL got improved so quickly, is because they got the younger, better players from the smaller black schools. And that's why they beat the NFL in those last 2 Super Bowls, because the league was actually better than the NFL.
Yeah.
But the NFL always thought they were better, and they had a lot of resentment toward the AFL, and they tried to squelch the AFL from actually doing anything.
Yeah.
And they wanted to put them out of business, and they kept saying, oh, they're going to go under, or they're going to get under. And the first few years, a couple of the teams, the Titans and Denver, were struggling, but they were able to keep them afloat. And now Lamar Hunt allegedly had given money to those teams to help them keep them afloat. Because he had money. He was doing really good. He was the Dallas Texans and moved to Kansas City, but he had a really good, team and was flourishing in Kansas City. So he helped those other teams out to flourish. And then they signed the same deal where they spread all the money around.
Right.
With the contract with TV, and that helped all those teams. But when they made the merge, Al Davis didn't want to merge. He was the AFL commissioner, and he was like, he didn't really care. But it was Lamar Hunt and Gil Brandt for Dallas that ultimately worked everything out.
Yeah. Yeah. Al Davis just wanted to stay alone.
No, Al Davis was like, I don't need, and there was a lot of resentment there.
Yeah.
And the old AFL, I mean, the NFL really resented the AFL and did not want.
Yeah, I know they didn't want them.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they had to see the players they had.
But
And
when
Kansas
you
City
think
came
back,
out and played Minnesota, they completely dominated them.
They did.
I mean, dominated with
Willie Lanier, Buck Buchanan, and Willie Otis Taylor.
Yep. Emmett
Thomas.
Yeah, Elmo Wright. These guys was on that team.
But the AFL it's amazing how ahead of their time they were. They went out and they really realistically took a lot of the players out of your smaller schools from the South, the Gramblings, the Morgan States.
Yeah.
And they really got their rosters built, and they were better teams.
Yeah, that's something. Because it did show up. It definitely showed
And
up.
You
in
evolved.
That Kansas City, more so than the Jets. When the Jets beat Baltimore, they beat them, and you could see some discrepancy that, hey, there's a little bit more talent. But when Kansas City beat Minnesota, that was complete domination.
No, that was domination.
I mean, you could see they were just better players on there.
One reason why the Jets beat the Colts, Weeb Eubank, the Jet head coach, used to be head coach for the Baltimore Colts. And the Colts really never changed their plays.
Right.
So Weeb Eubank, and watching on film, he goes, this is the same team I coach. So he kind of, talk about the stealing of signs, but he scouted them and said, these guys, it's the same team. All right. I know what to put together. And I know had Namath do what he needed. And then the Colts had a bad day turning the ball over.
Yep.
And the combination of the Jets being very familiar with the way the Colts did things, and the fact that the Colts turned the ball over all the time, led to the Jets upset.
That reminded me of Tampa Bay against the Raiders.
Yes.
And John Gruden. Everything. Hey, that's the same stuff.
Right.
They're running the same exact thing. They didn't change anything. They put their game plan together. They knew exactly what they was doing on every line. They do shifts. They knew everything that was coming. And it looked that way too, because it was dominance. I mean, it's crazy. So sign stealing doesn't mean anything, like you said. See, it really doesn't.
No, when you look at the Kansas City, and this is the part that always cracked me up when I read this book, I was really taken back how progressive and smart the AFL was in, building their team, and the fact that they spread the wealth, sort of to speak. Lamar Hunt did what he needed to do to keep the league apart. And they had nobody fold. They had 8 teams. Then they added the Dolphins in 66 and the Bengals in 68. So they had 10 team. No, they had, they ultimately had I think they had, I think it was I got to look it up, but
see how many more they added.
Anyway, the AFL, I know they added, the Dolphins, And the
Is it the Broncos?
The Broncos were there.
They're already there, right? Was it not Houston?
I think it was. It was 10. They had 10 teams that merged. The NFL had 16. What they needed to do is they needed 3 teams from the NFL was trying to say, well, okay, we'll merge, but you stay AFL 10, we'll stay NFL 16. And they were like, no, you can't do. That's when it was Gil Brandt said, no, you can't. We can't do that. We need 13 and 13. So they needed 3 teams to come over from the NFL to the AFL, and they called it the AFC. And they got
Cleveland, Pittsburgh.
They got Cleveland and Pittsburgh and Baltimore Colts. And Rooney, even though Rooney's son didn't want him to do it, the old man Rooney that chewed on the cigar, he was in the hospital. Modell went to see him, and they were actually they were joined at the hip. And they were actually, seems like they were pretty good friends. And Rooney said to Modell, if you go, I'll go. I'll back you, but I'll go with you. And at the time, Carol Rosenblum was the Colts owner. And he was the one that was, when ultimately they switched to LA and Irsay came to the Colts, but he was the owner of the Colts back then.
Yep.
And he was kind of a progressive thinker type of guy, very likable by the players. But he kind of saw, they talked, and he was like, yeah, I'll go over to the AFL too. I'll join you guys and we'll make it a 13-13. Because a lot of the hardcore NFL guys that didn't even want the merger were against it. But it was Rooney and Modell who were together on it. And then Rosenblum was also in on the talks of merging. He went along with it too, because he realized, and it was Gil Brandt, he listened to what he was told and said, yeah, I'll join because we need to have 13 and 13. And they called it the AFC NFC.
Yeah.
And that's what happened.
And then they finally came in, 70?
1970
71?
was the first
70?
year. They actually agreed to the merger at the end of 1965. And then the 66 season, it was that season they agreed to do the Super Bowl, or they called it the playoff. And that was 1967. January 67 was your first Super Bowl, Kansas City, Green Bay.
Yeah.
But they actually got the merger hammered out at the very end of 1965.
Okay.
And that's how they worked it out. So, but they were having that. It was very fascinating to hear how the resentment really by the NFL. And even after they merged,
they were jealous of how
they
good
were
too.
I think they didn't want to admit it, but they were all, and there was a lot of resentment because they kept thinking it's that other league. And I mean, ultimately, when you think back and you're reading this book, you're thinking, God, Lamar Hunt was just a genius. How he did, and he put this pretty much together. And then it was Tex Stram and Gil Brandt were the ones with Dallas he was working, and they were good. They realized too you needed to merge.
Right.
But there were still some NFL owners that didn't want to do it. But even Modell said, well, we didn't have to do it, but we should do it because the parching of the players. But the thing was, the AFL had the money to pay the players, and the players were getting more money from the AFL teams, and that's why they were all going over there.
Absolutely.
And that's what made the NFL mad.
Yep.
But the AFL, Al Davis was like, no, we don't have to merge. We'll just stay here, do our thing. We have the money from NBC.
Yep.
That's the show. We'll do it again next week. Everybody stay safe. Do not drink and do not drive. Buckle up. Saturday morning sports page.
You're listening to WRDB, Western Reserve Digital Broadcasting, Youngstown, Warren, Salem, and around the world.
I spend a lot of time in the backyard, and I'm the center of attention at summer barbecues. In '96, I made some of the tastiest s'mores. And at 09, it was me, your backyard fire pit, that accidentally started a wildfire when a summer breeze carried one of my embers into some dry brush.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Hope you enjoyed your meal. And I just want to say, he's lucky to have a brother like you.
Lucky? Caring for my brother is far from easy. But he's a part of me, like my arms and legs, so I'll be his. No time for tired. Nothing can disable this love. He needs me, but I'm the lucky one, even though I need help now and then.
If you're caring for a loved one, visit aarp.org/caregiving for care guides and community. Support for your strength. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
What if I told you that a tornado was going to happen tomorrow, right where you live? That it would touch down at exactly 3:17 p.m., and I told you the exact path it would take. You would, of course, prepare. You would talk with your loved ones, and you'd make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a tornado will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you have a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
This is Mario Andretti. You know me as a race car driver, but I'm also a Meals on Wheels volunteer. I've raced against the sport's biggest personalities, but I've never met more vibrant, amazing people than the seniors served by Meals on Wheels. You can make a difference by dropping off a hot meal and saying a quick hello. So, America, let's do lunch. Volunteer your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Hey, let me ask you something. Would you seat your 3-year-old child on a windowsill? Would you seat them beside a lit fireplace or by the deep end of a pool? One last question. Would you seat your child in a car seat that's not correct for them? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Secure their future. Seat them in the correct car seat. For more information, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The Mahoning Valley's leader for golf, Milk Creek Golf Course, is now booking tee times for 2024. We offer stay and play opportunities available with 9 area hotel partners. For more information, visit our website at millcreekmetroparks.org. Also, look for new, exciting opportunities coming soon, including an indoor player development center with Trackman, an indoor Callaway club fitting center, and an Odyssey fitting studio in 2024. Follow us on Facebook at Milk Creek Golf Course or call 330-740-7112.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He really likes to be around people. I get out my mat and I'm doing a downward dog and he's underneath. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. Look at this little face. How could you not love him?
Hamilton the Pug, Instagram star and shelter pet. Amazing adoption stories start in shelters. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a pet near you. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
You make sure his toys don't have any sharp edges. You taught her what to do when the smoke alarm goes off. You do so much to keep your child safe. But are you using the right car seat for your child? Car crashes are a leading killer of children ages 1 to 13. Protect your child's future at every stage of life. For information on the right seat for your child, visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat.
A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. So you see, son, good manners are important. Should I go through it again?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Exactly. Always say please, thank you, you're welcome, and excuse me. Sit up straight, hold doors open, don't speak with your mouth full, keep your elbows off the table. Share your things, play nice, and generally treat others the way you'd like to be treated. Got it?
Got it.
And stop picking your nose.
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush their teeth is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain. Visit tunein2x.org to find out more. A message from the Partnership for Healthy Mouths, Healthy Lives, and the Ad Council.
I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
This is Matt Lipsack, the voice of the Youngstown Phantoms, and your home for Phantoms hockey is Western Reserve Radio.
This is Everett Fitzhugh, the radio voice of the NHL Seattle Kraken, and you're listening to the home of the Youngstown Phantoms, Western Reserve Radio.
Welcome to the Varsity Sports Show.
Good morning, America. Vince, doesn't that sound great to say?
It does.
My name is Alex.
I hope that's not copyrighted.
My name is Alex Medina, and I'm a junior sports journalism student at Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication at Arizona State University. I am so happy to be here with you guys today. You guys are going to hear some great content.
Awesome. And then, of course, Olivia Hansen, recent graduate from Grand Canyon University. Olivia, how are you?
Good morning. Yeah, this is Olivia. I am doing well. This is a very exciting opportunity. GCU has prepared me for this, I really feel like, and super excited for this opportunity, super excited to be here nationally.
Awesome. And then joining us on the line, our other co-host out of the University of Florida in Gainesville, Eitan Ohana. Eitan, how are you?
Good morning, Vince. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, I'm doing great here at the University of Florida. It's getting near noon here for us, so starting to get into my day a lot more.
There we go. So let's tee this up and let you know exactly what all of you are going to expect by listening to the Varsity Sports Show. I guarantee you, you're going to find something that you'll find interest in. What I've explained to our team as we go through each and every semester is that we're not just a sports show, but we're storytellers. We're looking for stories of perseverance, of overcoming obstacles, of victory, happy things. While, we may at times view the world through rose-colored glasses, we don't report negative news. We don't have to. There's plenty of outlets out there that do that. We're trying to develop talent and journalists and provide a platform not only to our broadcasters on a national scale, but also point out all the great things going on in their communities nationally, so that it makes our world and our country just a little bit smaller. And we're excited and very privileged and honored and humbled to be a small part of a cog in the wheel, as you say, so to speak, that to deliver good news going on. Every week, we're going to have features. We're going to do interviews. Some will be live, some will be pre-recorded segments, and they are things that our team will be developing, reporting on. We've got some amazing guests, some amazing features, some amazing stories. We'll have a West Coast report, a Northeast report, a Pacific Northwest, a Southwest, a South, a Midwest. Every corner of our country is going to be covered, and we just appreciate being along for this ride and reporting news and telling stories that are important to you. So we are going to have a lot of fun with that. We are the Varsity Media Foundation. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and we rely on donations to fund our operations and to develop this platform for our students. There's a lot of schools out there that don't have a platform for students to practice their trade. And I had a conversation with a dean of a big university last year that said, look, in the past 5 years, we have tripled in size of our student enrollment, but we haven't tripled the number of opportunities available for our students to practice their trade. We have a lot of classroom practicum coursework that they go through, but never an opportunity for them to put on a headset, to produce content, to edit that content on a scale like what you are providing for our students. So we welcome the challenge and the opportunity to be that platform and to continue to do that. And we appreciate the partnerships, the strategic partnerships with those schools as we continue to grow, as well as our business partners in the community that allow us to continue doing what we do. So we're having a lot of fun doing it. And guys, and I use the term guys as a term of endearment. I'm referring to all genders when I say that. But guys, we have a heck of a show in store. Tune in every week. If you are listening and your local community does not subscribe to the SportsMap Radio Network, get somewhere where you can hear us. The live stream link will on the SportsMap app will allow you that. So thanks again for tuning in with us. Coming up after the break, we have an exclusive interview. I have an old friend out there. I'm fortunate in that I've got some good friends in this industry, and one of them that's been a big, strong advocate of ours is a gentleman by the name of Dick Stockton. Who is Dick Stockton, you might ask? Dick Stockton is only one of the most legendary broadcasters in this business. If there's a ball that's used in a sport, he has broadcasted it. He has done the Olympics, the NFL, Major League Baseball, which is one of his longtime passions, NBA basketball. He was the voice, literally the voice of the NBA Finals during the 1980s, the Lakers and Celtics series. For 9 years, he called those finals series. He has stories beyond belief. We're going to skim the surface. He retired a year ago after a 55-year career, and he's been enjoying life as he continues to enjoy life. So we'll hear from Mr. Stockton in the next segment. Beyond that, we've got some incredible content. We'll have a West Coast report from our very own Lauren Abazid talking about big news out of Tucson, Arizona, and, of course, with the University of Arizona football coach Jed Fish bolting for the University of Washington. Big news. How can you not when you're literally doubling your salary? Quentin Wilson, our intern from the University of Nevada, Las Vegas, he is going to report on Southern California high school basketball and national implications there in recruiting. Our very own Alexandria Medina is going to tell a story of a young man named Koa Pete, who you're going to hear a lot more from him, and he's locally out of the Phoenix area, but recruited nationally. This is national news, folks. If you want national high school news, you're in the right place. If you want college news, you are in the right place. Our very own Nash Dara will present the Midwest Report, talking a little hockey, out of the Midwest. Guys, stick around here on the Sports Map Radio Network. My name is Vince Delicio here on the Varsity Sports Show. We'll be right back with Dick Stockton. Don't go anywhere. Go Varsity.
Hey, I'm Chelsea, and a little thing I like about the Chick-fil-A Spicy Deluxe Sandwich is I think it's just a perfect combination of ingredients. The pepper jack cheese and that spiciness of the sandwich. It's the right type of spice and the right amount of spice. It's crunchy on the outside, but then really tender on the inside. And then obviously the pickles on the bottom are iconic. There are too many things I like about it. I don't know if I can finish the thought.
Bring on the spice and order the Chick-fil-A Spicy Deluxe Sandwich on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonial.
Do you own a timeshare? Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't, and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-858-6811. 800-858-6811. 800-858-6811. That's 800-858-6811.
You're going on a trip, but where are you going to stay? How much will it cost? Well, it'll cost less by booking on besthotelrates.com. BestHotelRates.com works with all the top hotels in the country while delivering you great hotel and room choices for the best prices. Why wait? Go to besthotelrates.com, enter your email address, and start shopping for your next hotel room. BestHotelRates.com. It's in the name. BestHotelRates.com. Imagine learning about radio and being mentored by true radio professionals in real radio stations. Well, actually, you don't have to imagine, because there's Radio Connection. Radio Connection gives you the opportunity to learn one-on-one and be mentored by radio pros. Plus, you don't have to worry about getting into a crazy amount of debt with school tuition either. Radio Connection keeps their tuition at much lower costs. To find out more info, visit radioconnection.com. Imagine learning about radio and being mentored by true radio professionals in real radio stations. Well, actually, you don't have to imagine, because there's Radio Connection. Radio Connection gives you the opportunity to learn one-on-one and be mentored by radio pros. Plus, you don't have to worry about getting into a crazy amount of debt with school tuition either. Radio Connection keeps their tuition at much lower costs. To find out more info, visit radioconnection.com. You're listening to the Varsity Sports Show on the Sports Map Radio Network. Now back to your host, Vince Delicio.
Okay, joining us on the line, legendary broadcaster who just concluded a 55-year career covering everything. You name it. Regardless of the shape of the ball, he did it. And his name is Dick Stockton. Dick, thank you for joining us here on the Varsity Sports Show. And we are so excited to talk to you about a couple of different things in our limited time. But thanks again for joining us.
Well, it's great to be on. And I know that when you're nationally syndicated, you're getting bigger, and bigger and better is tremendous. Vince, you're the guy for it. So I'm happy to be part of it.
Oh, thank you, Dick. What I wanted to do was start off by talking a little bit about your knowledge base in what's going on with the NFL. As you know, last week we had a couple of retirements. You're no stranger to retirement, so these guys retired. Pete Carroll, Nick Saban, Bill Belichick. I don't know if they're truly retired, but they stepped away. What's your take on what they've done throughout their career and maybe this move?
Well, it's interesting. Actually, they weren't all retired. Nick Saban retired. And I think, there are a lot of factors that could have gone in, although he didn't really precisely say why. And the rest were firings. I mean, Bill Belichick, part of the ways, it was a mutual thing. I don't think Robert Kraft, after 24 years and 6 Super Bowls, was going to outright fire him. But you knew that the way things were going lately, that a change had to be made. And I was a little surprised at Pete Carroll with the Seahawks and Mike Vrabel with the Tennessee Titans, because they had been winning coaches. And, and Vrabel a couple of years ago, number 1 seed. And they're both known as good coaches. And I know that, for Carroll is in his 70s. But I think what happens is that sometimes Vince owners, listen to other people and don't always listen to the football people inside. And, people are always knocking coaches and say you got to make a change here and there. But when you look at what these guys have done recently, I was surprised.
Well, you're getting a lot of different perspectives, like you said, about owners and who they're listening to and if they're listening to other people. But you've got 3 guys that were at the top of their profession. And you wonder, is the grass always greener? Is it greener? Is there somebody else better out there for a situation? And you tend to kind of scratch your head in that issue.
Yeah, it's a great point. And you always think it's going to be better. And I know that the Belichick thing, kind of had to be done. And we'll talk about, Nick Saban and his retirement, which was probably at the right time in his view. But, Belichick and Kraft, Robert Kraft, they look like they're really close, and they have been close, and they worked 24 years together. But a few years ago, it was Belichick who actually told Kraft that he thought that Tom Brady was through as a winning head coach. And I think that's a fact. And so they let Brady go, and he went to Tampa Bay and won another Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I think that sticks in the craw of Bob Kraft still. And I think that Belichick, who ran everything, I mean, if a pencil broke at the Foxborough headquarters, Bill Belichick knew about it. And he controlled everything there. And so now they've got to go and have a situation where a new coach, Jared Mayo, won't have total control. And I'm wondering where Belichick is going to go in his next stop, because he won't have total control there, I'm sure, either.
Yeah. Now, the other thing, the other issue that tends to draw a little bit of controversy is, and we try to stay as far away from controversy as possible, but a discussion point is the fact that you're seeing it a lot in college football. And, it's business. It's business. You're seeing coaches. 2 days ago, we had, a couple days ago, we had the head football coach at the University of Arizona negotiating a contract. And all of a sudden, University of Washington comes in and bigger and better. And then it leaves the fact, well, we had a bunch of recruits come in that have, signed letters of intent, that have enrolled in school. And now they're left with, well, our coach just left. Transfer portal and coaches running, leaving schools. What's your opinion on all of that with regard to transfer?
Yeah, Vince, it's that and NIL, which is name, likeness, and image, and likeness in that order. And there are players that are getting $1 million or more, or or several $1 million to play college football, or $5 million in some cases, which really boggles the mind. I remember they used to say, well, this football player is getting $15 for laundry money, and that's what he's getting from the university. Those days are long gone.
Right.
But the transfer portal is kind of strange, because what happens is that anyone can transfer. You used to sit out a year. Now you don't have to sit out. And what happens is, I think sometimes there could be some tampering going on. I mean, you see a second stringer who's not getting play, and another college will say, come with us and you'll start. I mean, that happens during the season. I mean, I went to Syracuse University, and they've been mediocre as a football program, and they got Ohio State's quarterback next year for the transfer portal, paying him over $1 million. So there's something wrong with this picture somewhere. And I think that may be one of the reasons why Nick Saban said at age 72, I have seen enough.
Yeah. Once again, joining us on the line, veteran broadcaster, 55-year career, most famous for covering the NFL, the NBA, and Major League Baseball, Dick Stockton. Let's transition. Let's talk a little NFL playoffs and divisionals.
If you could figure this out. I mean, there's so many alternatives going on because a lot depends on games that have still to be played, you know, in the wild card round, as you know.
Yeah, so we're looking at what's remaining out there in terms of NFL divisional rounds. How do you feel about some of these teams? Now, you obviously have covered every team out there. Do you have favorites?
No, I don't have. Well, I mean, I don't root for teams. I was a New York Giant football fan growing up because I grew up in Queens in New York, and that made sense. I've always liked the Steeler organization, and I worked there, and I'm very close with the Rooney family and have been for many, many years. And by the way, that's a ownership that has had 3 head coaches in 60 years. Wow. Okay. So, they've had Chuck Noll, Bill Cowher, and Mike Tomlin. And, if they can have a losing year and no one's going to tell them to get rid of them. And, so, you know, the Steelers, I don't know the 49ers, everyone loves the 49ers and everyone loves the Ravens, and they're the number 1 seeds. And so that the number 1 seeds don't always get there. The Cowboys getting upset by the Packers was a shock. And that's why Bill Belichick could possibly, and that's the intriguing thing, wind up there if Jerry Jones says, look, I want to win a Super Bowl soon before it's too late for me. And Belichick feels the same way. And they have a quarterback in Dak Prescott who, you know, has the means to get them there. But I don't root for anyone. And I think that every game, Vince, that I see in the playoffs, momentum has nothing to do with this because the Rams had momentum. Teams all of a sudden have a bad game, and it can happen anytime. Coaches don't know how their team is going to play the day of the game. So it's a crapshoot, and I just watch the passing parade and watch the games.
Yeah. As you look, is it, and again, and I know that obviously you don't have favorites or anything, but in terms of the landscape, AFC this year, NFC this year. I mean, you got Kansas City that's always in it. Now they're even talking potentially Detroit of all teams. How do you feel about, watching this play out and the parity?
Well, I think it's great. And, parity, I think the fact is that anyone can win any game. And Detroit was not a surprise to win. I mean, they were expected to win their division. And it was amazing that Jared Goff finally got a measure of satisfaction after beating Matthew Stafford. They were traded for each other, Rams and Lion quarterbacks, a few years ago, and Stafford won a Super Bowl. I'm amazed, Vince, at the young quarterbacks who have done so well. C.J. Stroud, who's done an incredible job with Houston, and Jordan Love. And, the amazing thing, before the season started, everyone was talking about Aaron Rodgers. That was going to be the story of the year. Mm-hmm. So the Packers decide to get rid of Rodgers. They trade him. He goes to the Jets, gets hurt, out for the year on the 4th play of the year. They're going with Love, who hardly played a game, and Love beats the Cowboys, and he's still alive in the playoffs. That's a pretty good story right there. So I watch the stories week to week. The 49ers appear to me the best team in the NFC. In the AFC, I don't think that's an easy drop in the bucket for anyone.
Sure. His name is Dick Stockton, retiring the last couple of years after a 55-year career, covered everything from NBA, was the voice of the NBA, to Major League Baseball, to the NFL, the Super Bowl, the Olympics, everything and anything. Dick, thank you so much for joining us here on the Varsity Sports Show, and we'll look forward to circling back with you.
Vince, congratulations, and always a pleasure to be on. Thank you.
Guys, welcome back. And you know, what an incredible guy. What an incredible career. I mean, Dick Stockton's a friend, and he'll tell me, he'll say, look, Vince, you can ask me anything you want, and I'll tell you everything. It's been an incredible career. I've loved every minute of it, and he's just a great guy. So Dick Stockton, one of the good guys in the profession, truly is. Joined here with our broadcast team this week, Alex Medina from Arizona State University and Olivia Hansen from Grand Canyon University, and on the phone, Eitan Ohana from the University of Florida. We're going to transition to the break. And when we come back, guys, stick around. We got a lot more great content here on the Varsity Sports Show on the Sports Map Radio Network. Go Varsity.
Pizza's here.
Oh, great. I'd love some, but I'm worried about my stomach issues.
If you're worried about having diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, or loose, oily stools, it may not just be stomach issues. It could be a condition called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. With EPI, the pancreas doesn't release enough enzymes to break down food, but EPI is manageable. Use the symptom checker on identifyepi.com and talk to your doctor. That's identifyepi.com. Sponsored by AbbVie.
And now another no-brainer money-saving tip from Progressive.
Marcus, what happened?
I was changing my oil and I spilled some on the floor.
Oh, well, use these $50 bills to wipe it up.
Perfect. Got any more?
Yeah, take a couple hundred.
Stop. Instead of using money, use an old rag. And here's a better tip from Progressive on how not to waste money. Don't pay too much for car insurance. Drivers who switch and save could save hundreds. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Did you know you can go to a trade school college that has you learning as an apprentice in a real radio station, culinary kitchen, film studio, or in a recording studio? Stay out of debt and out of a boring college classroom and learn on the job in the real world. The Radio Connection puts you in a real radio station. The Recording Connection trains you in a real recording studio. The Film Connection has you learning under a real filmmaker. And CASA has you learning one-on-one in a real restaurant. It's your life. Amplify it now and learn as an apprentice in a unique way to get a career as a broadcaster, podcaster, chef, music producer, or filmmaker. Just visit one of our sites, radioconnection.com, recordingconnection.com, filmconnection.com, or casaschools.com. Or call 1-865-413-5724. That's 1-865-413-5724.
Wake up call! Nick Saban announcing his retirement. Eli Gold, the legendary voice of the Crimson Tide. You mentioned that perfectionist thing, and how much did he do that to his players where everybody wanted to get it right all the time?
Well, that's why he worked them so hard. He didn't work these guys hard because he wanted them to get it right. He worked them so hard because he wanted to make sure they couldn't do it wrong.
Wake up call with Tony V and Ron Culver. Weekdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern.
Wake up call! Herm Edwards, NFL analyst, joins us. We really believe that there will be nothing like the Patriots those 20 years ever again. I know there's a combination of Brady. I get that. If you did it for 10 years, it would be amazing, right?
Look, I said it when this was all happening the last couple of years. If you were a Patriots fan, I laugh, I chuckle. I say, they lived in Camelot for 20 years.
It sure did.
They thought the Super Bowl parade was like the Macy's parade. That's just what we do. We go to the Super Bowl. You don't go this year, we go next year, right?
In terms of the last couple of years, what do you think hampered them to a point where they're 4-13?
Their ability to score points. I mean, when you looked at them on offense, who scares you? When they break the huddle and you go, okay, who scares you? Nobody. And I mean, it starts with the trigger, man. Who's the quarterback? And you're playing musical chairs with that guy. And then you get a couple different coaches coaching the guy. It's just hard.
Wake up call with Tony V and Ron Culver. Weekdays from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern.
The Die Hard.
Jalen Hurts was sick. He had the flu. Is he going to be the next Michael Jordan? Could people please stop comparing anybody to Michael Jordan? Can people stop doing that? Because there's never going to be another Michael Jordan. There's never going to be another flu game. There's never going to be another X of Michael Jordan.
I lost $1,000 on the flu game.
And of course you did.
The Die Hards, weeknights from 8 to 10 Eastern on the Sports Map Radio Network.
This is the Varsity Sports Show, your home for youth, high school, college sports, and you. Empowering education and enabling dreams. Right here on the Sports Map Radio Network. Now back to your host, Vince DeLisio.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Varsity Sports Show on a Saturday morning. Beautiful Saturday morning, wherever you're at on this globe, anywhere. My name is Vince DeLisio, and so excited to continue to spotlight all that's great going on out there in high school and college sports. We're going to turn it over to some regions now, and a breakdown of our show is, in a good way, is that we break out portions of the country where we're getting some quality reporting from our amazing intern team. And we're going to start off, let's go left to right. We're going to start on our West Coast. Let's start off with our West Coast report.
The West Coast Report.
Hello, everyone. This is Lauren Abuzed, based in Tucson. At the University of Arizona, Jedd Fisch had been a very popular topic this week. For those of you who don't know, Fisch was a former head coach of the University of Arizona's football team. He had decided to part ways from the Arizona Wildcats to take over a new head coaching job at the University of Washington. Washington offered Fisch a 7-year contract. He was set to make $3.5 million in the 2024 season at the University of Arizona. At the end of his 7-year contract with Washington, Fisch will have made $54 million. Before Fisch took over the Arizona Wildcats football team, they had lost 12 games in a row. Fisch coached a total of 3 seasons, and this past season, the team finished with a record of 10 wins and 3 losses. The team also made it to the Alamo Bowl, which was played against Oklahoma. The Wildcats won against Oklahoma. This would be their first bowl game that they have won since 2015. A majority of Arizona's coaching staff is expected to join him in Washington. In a 3-minute press conference given Tuesday, Fisch said it is going to be our goal to get all of them here and to get a crew together and stay together.
I'm
The
Quincy Wilson with
Wildcats
the
can
Varsity
only
Sports
hope
Show.
that the
Now,
new
as the
head
CIF
coach,
playoffs
Brent
are around the
Brennan,
corner,
can
we
continue
look at
to build
Sierra
up the
Canyon High
program.
School in
Once
Chatsworth,
again, I am
California,
Lauren
one of the
Abuzed,
top
based in
schools for
Tucson,
boys
and
basketball
thank
in
you
the
for
state.
listening.
This school has produced several current NBA players, including Marvin Bagley III, Kenya Martin Jr., Brandon Boston Jr., and Zaire Williams. Sierra Canyon is currently ranked 6th in the state and 46th nationally, according to MaxPreps.com. They have an overall record of 20 wins and 1 loss for the season, with a 15-game win streak, which is their longest since the 2020-2021 season. Additionally, they have a 23-0 win streak at home, which has been ongoing since last season. The Trailblazers have been dominant throughout the season, winning by an average of 36 points. They are currently in first place in the Mission League. Justin Pippen, the starting guard and son of NBA legend Scottie Pippen, is averaging 18 points per game this season. He has received offers from the University of California, Berkeley, Sacramento State, and Northern Arizona. Bryce James, the second eldest son of LeBron James, is also on the team and is averaging 8 points per game. Senior players Noah Williams and Isaiah Elohim have also been performing well. Williams, who has signed with Cal State Northridge, is averaging 18 points, while Elohim, who has signed with Arkansas, is averaging 14. As the regular season comes to a close, the Trailblazers are looking to finish strong with the CIF playoffs approaching. Their last regular season game will be against Notre Dame High School on January 26th, which is another top-ranked team in the state. Stay tuned for more updates on Sierra Canyon High School basketball. This is Quincy Wilson reporting for the Varsity Sports Show.
Good morning, America. I am Alexandra Medina from the Varsity Sports Show, and you are listening to the Sports Map Radio Network. Perry High School, located in Gilbert, Arizona, has been in the eyes of many lately, not only because they have been ranked as one of the best high schools in the nation for boys basketball, but because of 16-year-old 5-star recruit Koa Pete. Koa Pete currently holds over 30 Division I scholarship offers, but his list of accomplishments continues on. Koa Pete may be young, but he has already been named USA Basketball Male Athlete of the Year, has earned 2 gold medals while playing for USA Basketball, and has helped lead Perry High School and his teammates to 2 state championship victories. While Koa's accomplishments may shock the nation, the Pete family is no stranger to success. Koa's brother, Andres Pete, is currently a part of the New Orleans Saints 52-man roster, and his father also played in the NFL. While many would think that Koa's success is because of hard work and dedication, Koa believes otherwise.
I think it came with good parenting and good
having good siblings around me, they kind of paved the way for me.
While Koa's numbers display true leadership on the court, varsity head coach of the Perry High School boys basketball team stated that Koa is an even bigger leader off of the court.
I think you have to talk in terms of Perry High School as a school in whole. On our basketball program, he's a leader. He's a great teammate. He's very coachable. He sets the tone for our guys. And he's allowed us to be where we are. He's the pure definition of a student athlete.
While Koa has been able to see the true definition of success right in front of his eyes, he made sure to mention something very important.
Celebrate it when you get it, but then you got to keep moving forward and not live on the past.
As Koa continues his high school athletic term, he embraces his accomplishments, Perry High School, his family, and the future. I am Alexandra Medina, and you are listening to SportsMap Radio Network.
The Midwest Report.
Happy Saturday morning, everyone. Hope you're enjoying this first episode of the Varsity Sports Radio Show here on the SportsMap Radio Network. My name is Nash Dara, and for today's segment looking at the Midwest, we are going to the Windy City to look at boys hoops in the beautiful city of Chicago, as well as checking out boys hockey rankings in Wisconsin and Minnesota as we are nearing the end of this year's winter sports season. For basketball in Illinois, the McDonald's All-American nominees have been released, and 3 of Chicago's very own players have been nominated for this year's most important national high school basketball game. 2 of the 3 players come from the dominant De La Salle Institute. The forwards Richard Lindsay and fellow teammate Tavarion Williams have exceeded expectations this year and will be heading to Houston, Texas to participate in the national game. The 3rd player is Lane Tech's very own Shahid Solibo. Solibo has been a force his entire high school career and will be able to show off his skills on high school's biggest stage come April. Now heading up north, we are looking at the hockey rankings in the Bitter Cold states of Minnesota and Wisconsin. First, in Wisconsin, this week's top 6 teams have been listed on Wisconsin Prep Hockey. That order goes first to the Stevens Point Panthers, who remain undefeated this year. Not far behind are the Chippewa Falls Cardinals with a record of 15-3. Next on the podium is the Bayport Pirates, followed by Eau Claire Memorial, and finishing off with the Brookfield Stars and the Madison Edgewood Crusaders. Now we are in Hockey Town, in the great state of Minnesota. This week's top 3 listed teams go in order from Minnetonka, who has been first on the leaderboard all year, followed by Wayzata, and closed out with Edina, who had moved up 2 spots from last week. That's all the time that I'm given. I would like to thank you guys for listening and advise you to stick around to hear some more of the major content in high school sports news going around the country. I am Nash Dara, and this is the Varsity Sports Show.
The Northeast Report.
I'm Kobe Bronstein with the Varsity Sports Show. Springfield, Massachusetts is the birthplace of basketball.